said UNV on them. And so I was like, okay, a little bit of research time. I didn't finish the research. I think that, so I searched UNV security cameras, and it comes up with UniView. Like if you look around enough, you can see UNV, or like I guess you could search what brand is UNV security cameras. It would say UniView, and then if I went there, it's a Chinese company, UniView. So yeah, and then I could search up their vulnerability registers for known vulnerabilities. Where they're a fairly supported company, so I'm sure they're checking for all the UniView security cameras. And I didn't find what model it was, but then I did like a little scan, like a little Nmap, and on the network to find them, which I didn't. I think they might be on a separate network or use.
And if you pop it into Shodan, you can go, all right, where's all the UniView stuff?
That's it, yeah. Can you actually search? You can search by brand on Shodan. Is that on the free version?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's just a keyword search, so anything that's got like a URL that contains UniView.
Or like a web browser, yeah, true. UniView.
The first thing that comes up is that Unicom in Hubei province.
Yep, that makes sense. That tracks.
Yeah, exactly. That's in Wuhan. Oh, what? Wow.
Oh yeah, it's in Wuhan. Yeah, what else is there? Yeah, but and then I was looking not on Shodan, but I was looking on our private network on ports like common security camera ports. So port 80 for the web browser interface, and then I didn't actually find the IP address. I kind of just figured out my next steps and didn't go further than that. And then
well, this one here, this device has got 85, 111.
Yep. And there's
554, and then
554 is the other one.
Reports,
Yeah. They also have a web app, like a mobile app that I started downloading, and then decided, no, I don't actually want to do that today, but I guess I would have if I was really checking it out, like tried to get in the app and, not in their app, I'm sure the app's not vulnerable, but just log in to see our computers, our devices. But I couldn't actually see the devices on an Nmap scan on this network. This one's a cool talk. It's pretty basic stuff. It's about finding cyber mercenaries, but it's interesting. And the only tool that it's by the Electronic Frontier Foundation as well, which is they basically do a few things. They've been around forever, but they represent people legally, they defend digital rights. I think they're mostly legal, funds for legal defense, defends individuals and new technologies. So certain cases where they popped up were cases like, and they got, that's right. So I talked about that's the DES cracker. So not the DVD one. So they created a DES cracker. Which allowed DES encrypted messages, which we've looked at DES a little bit with good crypto, allowed them to be broken in 56 hours, which basically led to the government saying, okay, we can't use DES, we need to upgrade, which was good of them. And then AES within 4 years was standardized as a replacement. You're like, oh no, that's bad. They created a really quick fix to this. But to be honest, any military or nation state or somebody with some funding could do this. So yeah. They're involved in quite a few different ones. The Internet Archive.
To get full access to all the courses on EC Council's learning thing, $79 US a month or $699 annually. That's expensive.
That is expensive.
But it's pretty big. 885 odd, like nearly 900 short courses.
Yeah.
1,500 practice labs, 150 odd CTFs.
Gee, that's great value. Yeah. I mean, it is if you use them all as well. Yeah.
Because I was just looking at the, just directly through EC Council, what the pen testing Python stuff, and they've got a Black Hat Python for pen testers course, but you do have to be on the Pro, which honestly I'm considering you can do it because you can do a 7-day trial. And I'm like, well, the course says it only takes around 4 hours. So if I do my 7-day trial and smash out as many of the premium courses as I can.
That's a good idea. Take advantage of it.
Like, organize a list of the ones I want to do.
Yeah, look ahead of time and then do it. Yeah. Yeah, that's the holidays coming up. That's the perfect time for it. We've got, is that after this week?
Ooh, yeah, when is that? I have my email up.
I didn't get the email, unfortunately, which means that I often go off student.
Find a team EQC Easter holiday break. Break from the 3rd of April, so next week's the last week.
This week's the last week, right? Wait, break from 3rd
no,
of...
this week is the last week,
Yeah.
because this is like the end of the month. So
3rd of April is also a public holiday, right? So
yeah,
Labor
3rd
Day,
of April is
Friday.
Easter Friday.
Yeah, Good Friday. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Electronic Frontier Foundation have been involved in some cool cases. They represent some interesting people. They lost in this one, but they represented the Internet Archive and Hatch v. Internet Archive during COVID time. So the Internet Archive created a digital book borrowing system, allowing users to borrow digital copies of books that the archive had.
Right.
And then it was won by Hatchet, so they had to stop using digital book borrowing systems. A few other things. They also do awards. So the first person to find a prime number with at least 1 million decimal digits wins, and then 10 million wins. Those have been won. 10 million was won in 2009. 1 million was won in 2000. 150,000 to the first person who discovers 100 million digits. Still not done.
Surprised AI hasn't been able to crack that for someone.
Prime number. I guess because it's mathematical, it wouldn't actually really be efficient for AI necessarily. It would be efficient for quantum because scales,
you would need
but
like an AI model that was very much designed specifically for mathematical stuff.
yeah, but even that AI model couldn't just largest known is 41, so it's still quite a ways off. Yeah, so it's part of the shared hunting that everybody works together and does. So yeah, I wonder how this prize would be split, because most people that are finding it are probably multiples, like large groups of thousands of people that put the computing power towards it. So what do they each get, $1? Like, I don't really get this necessarily, but I guess maybe the person who cracks that last one or finds it or shares it might. But yeah, but they're widespread, the EFF. Sorry, that was I know a bit of a tangent, but
Just quickly smashing through this. Wow, this is a lot of questions.
what's this one for?
The
EC Council
not
sign
EC
up?
Council, sorry, EQC sent through an email asking us to do a survey,
Oh,
and I just realised that's 51 questions.
yeah, no. I'm also meant to encourage you guys to do that, but I guess not in class, like not right now. Or I mean, you
Yeah,
can if you want to watch and do it in the background, but
I'll
yeah.
finish that afterwards because I don't want to have to like read these and not be able to pay attention to this.
Fair
I
enough.
didn't think it was going to be that long.
I'll track this one. So these ones all, this one, all the tools that he explains and uses, I've only got to like the 10-minute mark, are tools that like you'd be perfectly fine and comfortable with using. The only tool that he used that we haven't actually we haven't actually looked at in class or extra study or whatever is Multigo, which is the OSINT tool, and all Multigo does is map things together. So let's say you have all of this data. It's I'll actually just search Multigo graph, and there's a free and a paid version, but and different paid models. But let's say you have a bunch of information, it can graph it out in some meaningful way. So like not really the most clear explanation here, but like let's say I've got.
I mean that picture makes sense. It does kind of like an organization chart.
Exactly, it is like an organization chart. Or it can be a circle, but it can group and cluster things together. This is the same network, this is the same country, this is the same user, that sort of thing.
That's cool.
And you can piece the data information points into something that is sort of...
It'll also help you filter out irrelevant...
outliers and things like that. Or even use those, or even find outliers that are significant. So we'll look at this here.
So who here does not know what the EFF is? All right, well, and EFF is excellent. So,
hey, I'm gonna skip this guy because I think he's just intro. That's also so much louder than I thought it would be.
Yeah. That scared the shit out of me.
It's when is this one from? This is from only 2 years ago. How's the audio so shocking? But that's all right. Yeah.
Coursera display sent out a gratuitous arm.
Wait, who did?
Wireshark running. It's a display somewhere. Coursera display.
Somewhere here.
Yeah, gratuitous arm for 192.168.52.250.
52.50 or 50.250. Yeah. Because I thought we're 50. We're .50 here. So
it's something, isn't it? It's like a TV, I'm assuming.
It would be. Have you seen the TV out the front now? It's got this whole display. It used to have nothing on it. Now it's got like what classes are going on. Check it out. Come check it out. It's the web dev. It's Tim's class's handiwork.
Oh, yeah.
It's got. Oh, it's not on right now. Oh no.
We took it down.
Oh no. Wait, what? Why?
But we need to load it up in the morning. We need to figure out how to do a boot in the morning.
Okay, we could definitely automate that, but yeah.
That's definitely not that.
Yeah, it's usually just on the browser.
Ah,
So,
cool.
Bing.
Smart TV.
Uh,
We figured it out. It was like internet or.
home.
That's right.
And then, yeah, internet.
That should be up
Hopefully
hopefully.
it should just be there.
Yeah. If not, we can go find it. You can find it in history. Thanks for putting it back up.
Morning, Wally.
Hey Wally.
What are we watching?
Just check out web source.
Oh,
The dashboard.
that's not fun. Netflix.
Yeah, check Netflix on. It's fine.
Imagine it signed in.
Didn't remember it. Okay.
Where's this again?
Yeah, it probably should be under that if you've gone.
Oh yeah, there we go. Good thinking.
Okay, you've got like a little.
It's got key
Yeah.
events. It's got the QRs,
Yeah.
weather, and then the rooms which you can fill in whenever
Yeah.
as well.
So
So
I've got the form on my phone. So
nice.
if I
Is
sign
it Jot
in-
form or
Google form.
Google form? Nice,
Yeah.
better. Yeah,
That was a job form.
yeah, for sure.
It's called sign on. Sign on sheet.
Wait, there's 7 rooms here. Holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, 7's upstairs,
Oh,
right?
that's
7's
training room
upstairs.
now.
Yeah.
Right, of course.
Yeah, that's 6. Yeah.
25G.
I think it's only used.
I never think of that as a training room because it's just that big open area.
It's
where
true.
they have all the
Yeah,
massage.
it's used by the massage people, and it's
Yeah.
also used by Emma on Fridays. I think she goes in there to teach this. There's a school over east, like a high school
Oh,
Yeah. In Queensland?
in Queensland.
ah, cool.
What am I in? Classroom 1, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
So it's supposed to be.
I am classroom 4.
Just
Yes.
Oh,
what
yeah.
you take them?
25I today.
25G.
Cyber?
Yes, yeah.
Ah, cool.
And are you selecting from a drop down for that web dev backend cyber?
Yeah.
That's
Well,
cool.
It's sort of like course being called cybersecurity, web dev.
Nice.
or
That's
other.
great. That's
Oh, yeah,
awesome.
Nice.
And then you can put like topic or notes.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
So I just put catch up session
Yeah,
in
it's
mine.
nice,
Sounds
nice and
good.
Clean.
Yeah, that works for mine too. Yeah, anything.
And then, yeah, just submitted yours. So it should refresh every, like, I think it's every 30 seconds that it refreshes.
That's awesome. It looks really sleek. I like the branding.
Yeah, as I said, it's really clean. I like it.
Yeah.
Oh, you've even got key info at the bottom as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even got the
First
RTO
step
number and
reception.
everything.
Need to fix that. So don't have a reception.
No, we don't. I really like. Well, I guess it could be true for upstairs, but yeah. I really like. Yeah, I didn't even know that our fire assembly was. Yeah, that's awesome.
Cybersecurity,
Yeah.
That's
And
so
it says
cool.
it's
Live,
got
yeah.
the RTO number and everything on there. Like
Yeah.
literally any information you could need is pretty much popping up.
Yeah.
That's great.
Didn't even know there was an Instagram. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're trying to push Google reviews.
Yep. Yep.
Ugh.
Yeah. There's the Wi-Fi network as well.
Yeah. No, wicked.
It should be nice and easy. I might do a dark mode version.
That's cool. Yeah. This looks great though. This fits the branding
I
for
was
sure.
gonna say, I wouldn't personally go with the dark mode version just purely because it's against a dark background. At least this way it sticks out. It's a lot more like
Yeah, true.
On
So
this wall,
just
yeah.
when you come in. Yeah.
whereas if it was dark mode, it
It
would
should
just
be
be
good. And then yeah, it keeps track of that because I always forget to sign on.
Yeah.
In that
True.
group
Yeah.
chat, I'm always like, I certainly don't get a call like, is Tim there?
I
I just never do. So this way, at least like.
I'm bad at it too. Yeah.
Yeah, that was better Saxon this morning.
True. Did
Saxon
he
was
get
like,
there in the end?
Sign up for Friday.
Yeah. Did he sign up?
Yeah.
He catches up. I don't. I kind of let it slide. I
Yeah,
think. You say so. Yeah.
I've got to remember to RSVP for that thing.
The grad. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. It gives you the reminders.
Yeah. That's it came up there. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. Easter break includes Friday, right? Because it's
Yeah.
Good Friday.
So we don't have
Yeah.
class next Friday.
Yeah.
That's this week Friday, right? Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, tomorrow's my last day before the break.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be.
Yeah, this is cool.
It should be good.
It will be good. Yeah. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Might sign Tommy in.
Oh yeah. True.
No, That's awesome.
Yeah, imagine if we just use the jot form instead. That would be like use the Google form to track ours instead of the group chat, and then it would pop up on the screen as well. That would be ideal. Yeah. Yeah, and it's cool. It's a web dev class project, so I'm sure it's mostly Tim, but
not really any projects we can do to help.
no, we can hack that. You know,
We can hack the TV. But...
we'll break it. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the Cash Patel hack.
I can't go over that.
And I saw the RSA wrench. It's not. It wasn't being. So here's a classic sort of XKCD these comics.
I love these.
And a crypto nerd's imagination. His laptop's encrypted. Let's build $1 million cluster to crack it. No good. It's 4096-bit RSA. Blast, our evil plan is foiled. But in reality, his laptop's encrypted. Drug him and hit him with the $5 wrench till he tells us the password.
100%.
Yeah. So, it's not exactly what happened here, but he was phished. You know, he did give up those credentials, and he didn't have. It was a personal account. He did.
I know, but the fact that the head of the FBI fell for a phishing.
I know, but
rough.
Yeah, it is rough. Yeah, and it was by Handala as well. So yeah, but luckily nothing bad was found. But that just happens to be the nature of his personal, his personal email.
Yeah.
So
I don't think he personally there's anything wrong with him. I just think he's a bit, as I said, he's a bit skittish.
He's a bit eccentric. Yeah. But I'm impressed. I'm actually impressed that his whole personal got leaked, and it's all very, very normal.
Yeah.
And yeah, Handala's. It says they've kept a low profile previously, but it seems like they're actually being.
They're doing a lot recently, yeah.
They are doing a lot, and they are really trying to make people nervous. So yeah. But yeah, sorry. But yeah, this kind of reminds me of this. It doesn't really matter how good your protections are, your security is, because human weakness is always going to be that sort of cheapest or easiest vector of entry. Sorry about the audio quality. I didn't actually realize it was this shit.
Before I get started, I want to mention that at 8 p.m. we have an Ask the EFF panel, or anybody else. You're welcome to come to that. Also, there'll be a pub trivia style event where you can win EFF swag and also bribe the judges by donating to EFF. So come check that out as well if you're around and have nothing better to do Saturday night. That said,
Sorry. Also, DEF CON in Singapore is starting up soon. It looks incredibly expensive, though. The workshops are insane. I don't know how much the talks are, but yeah.
I saw when they first announced it before they had tickets for sale. I was like, that's it. And
yeah.
I was like, how much is it
going to cost? Maybe what the case is because often they'll have the talks. You pay the tickets for watching the talks and going to this and that, but then the workshops you pay extra for, which the workshops were like $4,000, $5,000 at Singapore, which was insane.
Talk is called Tracking the World's Dumbest
America's
Cyber
got the same
Mercenaries,
thing
and
with
I'm
the
going to
paid
tell you
workshops.
about this cyber mercenary group that I've been tracking for the last 5 years and all of the mistakes they've made, but why they're still actually very effective. But to tell this story, I first need to tell you the story of Irina Petrushova. Irina Petrushova is the editor-in-chief of a newspaper called Respublika, which is in Kazakhstan, which was at the time in Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan is not known for its freedom of the press or its general democratic tendencies. So Irina had made quite the enemies of the state of Kazakhstan by constantly publishing negative stories about Kazakhstan's only president they had ever had, and also exposing a lot of his corruption and scandals and things like that. She made such enemies of them, in fact, that they ended up leaving a human skull on her doorstep with a note that said, "Stop publishing." When she didn't stop publishing, they killed a dog and hung it outside of her office window with a note that said, "There will be no next time." When she still didn't stop publishing, they kidnapped her child from the school that he went to and held him for ransom until she agreed to stop publishing. When she got her child back and then continued publishing, they ended up firebombing her office. And after that, she ended up escaping to Russia to get a little bit more freedom. So, while in Russia, she continued publishing Respublika. And this site popped up around the same time called KazaWord. KazaWord hosted a leaked trove of emails from the president of Kazakhstan, including emails detailing his campaigns to spy on the only opposition politician in Kazakhstan, his various corruptions and briberies, and things of that nature. And this was and Respublika did a lot of reporting on these emails. They made a lot of hay out of it. The government of Kazakhstan, the president of Kazakhstan, did not like this. And since she was in Russia and there was nothing he could do about it anymore, they decided to sue her in the District Court of New York because the website was hosted in New York. And that's where EFF comes in. We ended up giving her a legal defense. And as we were defending her, she started receiving these strange emails. This is a phishing email she received in Gmail that pretends to be from a human rights lawyer in Kazakhstan that says, here's your invoice, please read the invoice. And when you open the PDF, it's this blurry image and then a error bubble. But when you open the PDF, it installs this malware, which we call Banduk. And we wrote about this malware in a 2015 report called Operation Mantle. Banduk is a piece of spyware, and it's, in its capabilities, not much different from high-end malware like Pegasus.
Pegasus by the NSO group, that one. Yeah. But like if you're looking here.
Yeah, looking at the stuff that it can do, it's pretty comprehensive.
Start camera uninstalled. It can install other stuff too, which is a big deal. Mouse captures, so information capture, exfiltration.
Yeah, delete files, send info list, mouse capture, split files, get
Wi-Fi info.
Start shells.
Yeah.
Fire.
It has the ability to, or any other spyware, it has the ability to capture screenshots, turn on the microphone, start your webcam without turning on the light, upload and download files, get Wi-Fi information, and it has the ability to download secondary infections, which will become important later. But the interesting thing about this campaign, when we started looking into Banduk, is the command and control servers for the malware were running Windows. And specifically, they were running the Windows Apache MySQL PHP stack called XAMPP. A fun thing about XAMPP is that by default, it leaves directory indexes open. So if you don't have an index.html file, you
index.html, like on a website, Apache website, index.html is your main.
Can see the list of all the files that are in the directory. Another fun thing is that this attacker decided to leave all their exfiltrated files within the web root. So we were able to, using Dirbuster, scan
which we know GoBusted is Dirbuster, it's the same tool. Yeah. So
for these directories, find the exfiltrated files, and download them all and figure out information about who was being targeted in this. Of course, Irina was being targeted, but there were also other targets. Other folks in Kazakhstan were targets. And there was we found like what we thought was maybe a Vietnamese cigarette company that was a target. It was all very odd. But we also found web panels, not web panels, but the web logins for their command and control centers. So we found these two web logins for the command and control centers, and there was some fun there to be had as well. We also found all of these files, backups from entire Windows machines, and backups and files extracted from mobile devices, which gave us the theory that there might be a mobile component to this as well.
This is crazy.
So
and that's just from things they've left open that you could Dirbuster for. You know, you could find all these open. You could use GoBuster to find all these open files and ports, and that's just the solution that they're using. It's a feature that they just didn't configure, like a misconfiguration. And then it's told them that there's something mobile as well. So.
It turns out there was. About a year later, some people from Lookout Mobile Security reached out to us and said, hey, that mobile component that you mentioned might exist in your Operation Mantle report. We think we found it. And so we ended up writing another report with them called Dark Caracal, which is where we came up with the name for this actor.
In fact, I think that even CrowdStrike might even use Caracal for Kazakhstan or for another country that will come up soon, or Palace. Sorry, I know I'm going on all these side tangents. Yeah, but Caracal's the same as a cat, so it's Lebanon. So Palace or
Palace is to do with the mobile.
Yeah. But Palace and Caracal are the same thing. So like in animals, not in
named the mobile component Palace because that's another name for a caracal, Palace cat. And
Yeah,
we named the mobile component Palace because that's another name for a caracal, Palace cat.
They lied to me. They lied. Google it. Yeah. There's no way they're the same.
Distinct.
They're distinct.
Caracals are sleek. Palace are small and stocky. Yeah, I thought. Yeah.
They're the little grumpy-looking ones that sit on their tails.
Yeah, exactly. So he's not quite on. He's not quite right.
Like they're the same thing. I'm like,
That's the pallets. These ones. Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And they can't.
The caracals are the lengthy ones. Caracals is there's an internet meme about one of, like, I forgot its name, but one of the caracals was.
The Palace malware, again, has pretty standard features that you would expect in spyware. But it also, in this case, was being distributed as backdoored versions of popular secure messaging apps. Well, secure with quotes around it. Threema, but also Signal, WhatsApp, some other things I've never heard of, Orbot and Siphon, and also a copy of Flash Player, because what Flash Player needs is more malware.
I'm actually not sure what it is.
Orbot.
Yeah.
It's a Tor thing for mobile.
Oh, okay. Oh, Orbot, Torbot. Okay, that makes sense.
You can also get, what's the other one?
Siphon similar.
But Orbot doesn't work very well on iPhone.
Yeah, so I'm sure there's iOS alternatives. So,
Yeah, there is. Onion browser.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's the one that I was familiar with for
Yeah.
iOS. Yeah.
Because Orbot can be used to route the dark traffic for Onion browser. It works better, but it doesn't, for some reason, work very well on iPhone. Like it just.
They might restrict, or it's a certificate thing or
Which
something.
is weird
Yeah.
because you can use VPNs fine, but it just does not like Orbot. It keeps refreshing its
Did you try Orbot?
Yeah. So it'll connect and then it'll disconnect and you have to commit. Yeah, there you go. Strict Apple. That's why it's the app memory thing.
There's limitations to RAM. Wow, really?
Yeah.
Apple apps must be pretty lightweight. Swift is fast. Yeah. It's interesting. Okay. Yeah. There you go.
And
It uses memory. Too much memory. Is that what your experience was? It was crashing out a little bit, or like just like
It would
closing
basically,
connections?
it would start connecting and then when it hit that memory like size, it would just disconnect and then start the process again because it was obviously starting from scratch.
Yeah, that's annoying. That is
Yeah.
annoying.
Also,
Yeah, that's the thing. It takes some time to actually go through all of those connections.
Yeah,
So,
but you can just use the Onion browser with its default VPN or you can use like Proton-free VPN.
yeah, stack it with the Onion browser. Yeah.
be a Flash Player, because what Flash Player needs is more malware. But they were fully functional apps that had this Palace spyware built into them. The Palace spyware was also able to take photos with the front and back camera, get GPS coordinates, turn on the microphone, upload and download files, make a hot mic.
Yeah, it can really do retrieve contacts, scan nearby Wi-Fi, device and text message metadata, call logs, retrieve and decrypt messages from messaging apps, retrieve a list of uninstalled apps and download other apps, again, further installation, upload and delete specific files and directories.
And it was able to collect information about the Wi-Fi access points that were available. Again, this will be important later. We found in total, because again, they were still using XAMPP, and the files were still within the web root. So we were able to find a total of 81 gigabytes of exfiltrated data from infected machines. About 60% of that was from Android campaigns, and 40% of that was from infected Windows machines. But another fun thing about XAMPP is that it has a module, it enables by default a module called Apache Status. What Apache Status does is it gives you a real-time log of everybody visiting the server that is accessible via the website. So you go to commandandcontrol.com/server status, and you get a real-time hit of everybody who's visiting the website. So we could not only get the IP addresses of everybody that was infected, because their machines were uploading content, but we could also get the IP addresses of the attackers as they went to the web administration portals for their command and control. So, where in the world is Dark Caracal? Where are all these IP addresses located? There were IP addresses coming, and this was for infected machines, from all over the world. The United States, Canada, some bits of Europe, and Southeast Asia.
This whole APAC region is like 2% of the cybercrime. Australia is pretty, like, we get a lot of scams and things, but this sort of stuff, we're pretty off the radar a lot of the time.
Yeah. safe down here
Yeah.
for the most part.
Yeah, we see the occasional, very rare sort of foreign spying. Like there was one last week where in a bakery in Canberra. I'm not sure if I talked about it. There was a girl and a guy, Chinese girl and guy, that were in Canberra not to spy on the nation state, but to spy on this branch of this like sort of Buddhist, not just Buddhist, but like a denomination of Buddhism, which in China they were spying for the Chinese government, and in China that is like an illegal sect of Buddhism or something that they think is a cult. So that's what they were doing, is they're spying on the Canberra branch of that. They got caught for that and charged with reckless interference, I think is the charge. But, yeah.
But the vast majority of them were in Lebanon. Specifically, they were in the vast majority of them were in Lebanon. Also, when we looked at the admin console logins, all of them were coming from Beirut, downtown Beirut. This is interesting because when we looked up the authorship for the Banduq malware, which is public, the author of the Banduq malware, who goes by the name Prince Ali, claims that he lives in Beirut. So, things are starting to come together here. But we found another interesting thing, which was that when we put all this exfiltrated data into a Maltego graph, there was a giant cluster of phones that seemed to be all the real phones that were infected. But there was this little cluster of phones that popped up outside of any of the other graphs that weren't connected to anything else. And all those phones appeared to have test data on them. All the text messages that were exfiltrated were things like test, test, hack, hack. The only pictures on those phones were like up the nose shots of somebody in their office. And they all also only connected ever to this one Wi-Fi and they were the first phones to be infected. And they only ever connected to this one Wi-Fi address, which was BLD3F6, which we thought might mean Building 3, Floor 6. We used an open source database called Wiggle.
Which we've actually also used, Wiggle, for war driving. With the OSINT activity ages ago, like Christopher Woodflint, he talks about his BSSID and we use that to find his SSID. They're doing exactly the same thing again. They have the SSID in Mac, but they're going to search up the SSID to see if they can find it.
Yeah.
To map where the BLD3F6 Wi-Fi access point was. And it turns out that it's in downtown Beirut. What's going on here? But where is it exactly in downtown Beirut? Luckily, we have friends in Beirut. They went out.
Yeah, all fun.
They'll leave a voicemail if it's important.
Yeah, and then this is, I guess, another method is man on the ground.
And looked for us. And what they found was that it's in the only building in downtown Beirut in that area with more than 6 floors. And it's right next to the Campus France Liban, but it's not that. It is the headquarters of the General Directorate of General Security, which is Lebanon's CIA, FBI, and like Border Patrol, DHS, all kind of rolled into one. So we figured that this is pretty much, we caught him red-handed, right? And we sent the, after we published the report, we sent it to the GDG, or somebody, a journalist, sent it to the GDGS and actually knocked on their door, which that takes guts. And their response to the report was, this is totally untrue. We didn't spy, but if we did, it was totally illegal and we can do whatever we want. But also, this report was probably written by the CIA or Mossad, and you should ignore everything in it. But also, it's all true and it's legal and it's fine. So, that was interesting. But what's going on here? Why is the GDGS also hacking a opposition reporter in Kazakhstan? Why are they hacking a Vietnamese cigarette importer? What connection do these all have? And the conclusion that we came to, I have to remind myself what the next slide is. The conclusion that we came to is that this must be a mercenary op. We think that Prince Ali, who wrote Banduq, who, as far as we know, is the only one who has the Banduq malware, is working for the GDGS during the day and moonlighting at night working for other folks, hacking Vietnamese cigarette companies, and working for a private investigator who was hired by Kazakhstan to do cyber ops, perhaps. But it's really interesting because normally targets that are clearly state-sponsored, which we have pretty good attribution, don't also do, moonlight doing criminal stuff. So we're still not sure. A couple more reports came out in the last couple of years about Banduq, about the Dark Caracol group. ESET put out a report called Bandidos at Large, which detailed a big Banduq campaign in Venezuela. And Checkpoint Research put out another report about Banduq called Signed and Delivered, which detailed another campaign. And then in 2022, we found a new sample of Banduq. And so we decided to take a look at it. Banduq, by the way, in Hindi means gun. So there's a series of action movies, of Bollywood action movies called Banduq. It also, apparently in Lebanese, it means bastard. So, yeah. Anyway, so we started looking at this new malware. And like I mentioned, the malware has the ability to download a secondary infection. And it does that from a second domain, which is orthogonal to its command and control server. So I looked at the Banduq malware, I extracted the domains, and the first domain was a .ru domain, and it had the command and control server running. They're no longer running XAMPP. They've learned their lesson. They're no longer running Apache at all. The only ports they have open now are the ones necessary for command and control. Good for them. But the second server, it turns out, they forgot to register it. They never registered their command and control domain. So being a helpful guy, I registered it for them. They can use all the help they can get. So I registered the domain and set up a sinkhole. And started collecting all of the traffic from, or not all of the traffic. We're not the NSA. I started collecting the traffic coming from the infected machines to the secondary command and control server and got a good idea and a good map of all of the infected machines. And also because we're EFF, we wrote a privacy policy for the sinkhole to make sure that everybody knew exactly what we're doing with the data that went to the sinkhole. But what we saw was about 700 or 800 infected machines connecting to it every weekday. And on weekends, that number drops to between 100 and 300. So we think these are probably business machines that aren't being used on the weekends.
That's why data analysis, the forensics.
But when we mapped out the locations, what was really interesting was that there were a few infections in the US, a few infections in other parts of South America, a lot of infections in Venezuela, but by 2 orders of magnitude, most of the infections were in the Dominican Republic. Dominican Republic is not usually known as a big target for hacking. But also, we didn't really know why. We didn't have a sort of victimology like we had in the Lebanon case. In the Lebanon case, they were hacking people who were on the border of Lebanon and Syria, presumably over spying on people they thought might be going to fight in the Syrian civil war. In the Kazakhstan case, the victimology was pretty clear, the Irina Petrushova. But in this case, we weren't sure. About a month ago, I was listening to an episode of Darknet Diaries, and they did a report on a guy who works for a CERT in South America who ended up finding this campaign, or looking into this campaign after we published our report. And what he found was that the Dark Caracol, the Banduq infections that Dark Caracol had deployed, were being used to deploy Conti, the ransomware. Which the Conti ransomware gang keeps very tight control of. So this gives us the impression that Dark Caracol is now somehow partnering with Conti ransomware group to start ransomwaring machines in tiny countries like the Dominican Republic, where there's not a whole lot of infrastructure, and frankly, the West doesn't give a shit. So you're not going to attract a lot of attention. But we don't know.
That's interesting because that kind of flips how we often think about these advanced threat groups as hacking. But yeah, I guess they would also target small countries because there isn't that international attention.
What's going on here? Is this, is this a state-sponsored hacking wasn't paying enough? So the Dark Caracol gang started turning toward more traditional cybercrime. It's unclear, but it does represent an escalation in their tactics. And if they go back to going after political targets, we might see, I'm concerned that we're going to start seeing like ransomware as an attack deployed against political targets to silence them. Overall, I award Dark Caracol the dunce cap. They've made a lot of stupid mistakes over the years, and I've learned a lot about malware reversing from their stupid mistakes. So thanks, guys. But they are the kind of derpy dragon of the group, right? They're not the NSO group. They're not the dark matter. But this meme is actually very appropriate because they're still a dragon. They've still managed to infect thousands and thousands of machines over several years. And it turns out that writing reports about malware doesn't actually stop the malware authors from writing malware and continuing to infect people. So, I don't know, there's gotta be a better way. Despite the number of mistakes they've made, they're super effective. And I think that this is a growing problem. The number of cyber mercenaries in general is growing by a lot. And I think that there's starting to be a spectrum of it, right? Not everybody has to be an NSO group. Not everybody has to be a dark matter. There's a lot of spyware and stalkerware companies and like lower end mercenaries like Appin and Dark Caracol that I think are going to start working for people who can't afford NSO group, people who can't afford Dark Caracol, maybe people who aren't acting with like full state authorization, or who are, but who don't, even care about, the vague pretenses of rule of law that say like, Israel sometimes pretend to care about, or the US sometimes pretends to care about. Overall, I think that this is going to grow, and I think that this growth is because of how successful encryption has been. Web encryption is ubiquitous at this point, and end-to-end encryption is nearly there as well. 3 billion people are sending end-to-end encrypted messages every day now over WhatsApp and, to a much lesser degree, Signal. But this means that, in addition to fighting tooth and nail with horrible laws, governments are increasingly turning to hacking individual devices to spy on people. And if encryption was the fight of the last 30 years, and maybe the fight of the next 10 now, I think that spyware is also going to be a big battle for the next 30 years.
Yeah, that's that one. I just thought it was interesting how the slip up in particular was very basic. Like we could all do that.
Had the shittiest version of Apache possible and
Yep,
configure it.
exactly. We could all do that. Just like looking at if we found that site, that's like the things we'd check. We'd see that it was open. We'd find that pretty quickly.
Yeah, you just go to the IP and be like, oh look, I can view all their files.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. And then the rest is just, multi-go correlation and then looking at patterns. These guys connected first. They're the test devices. The data they're sending is test. They're all on this network.
Yeah.
I wonder if that guy, if he really was moonlighting, if he got caught from those pictures of his nose, those were ever released.
No,
yeah.
it was still active as of 2025.
Yeah, okay, that
I
tracks.
just had a quick look into Dark Caracol.
Yeah, Dark Caracol, I think I've still seen around, but they're a minor group. They're more mindful of their approaches. They still have a lot of.
That's basically their biggest claim to fame is the fact that most of the stuff that they have, they make themselves. It's
Yep.
not available to other people.
That is pretty cool, actually. Yeah, a lot of the spyware is for sale now, including those iPhone exploit kits that we talked about not yesterday. The what's it, Dark Sword iPhone, I think, or something Sword,
Yeah.
iOS.
Dark Sword, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Full chain.
Google's also got actually good reports, but yeah, they talk about the timeline. So,
Oh, here you go, Dark Caracol also.
oh, it's also been attributed. Dark Sword is run by UNC, which is how Google titles a lot of their groups.
6353.
6353. Yep.
Not 36, 6353.
Also, that just shows you, are there really thousands of UNCs? I don't know if it iterates up. So a Russian espionage group targeting Ukrainian users. Okay, which tracks with what we saw, because Dark Sword was what, a whole attack on Ukrainian government websites.
Yeah. Suspected Russian.
Yeah.
espionage group.
There's also UNC6748 also used Dark Sword.
Okay.
I think that if my younger brother heard me say UNC67, he'd probably laugh.
Yes,
Yeah.
quite possibly.
Yeah. It is
At
whatever.
least you didn't do the hand.
That's true, that's true. Yep. Yeah.
Mind you, it's funny because it's like it's a brand new attack, but it's bloody old iOS version.
It really is. It really is.
17.2.1 is the like latest that it can be.
Yeah, but it still says 270 million phones. At one point, when a report came out, it said that many iPhones were vulnerable to.
People don't update their phone.
They really do. They really don't, but it's mandatory. So a lot of people are using older phones.
Yeah.
And even if you've got an old iPhone that you don't really use, I guess that's not. Yeah, that's theoretically adds to that vulnerable number, but it's not going to be turned on necessarily. Our RSA conference was. When was RSA 2026? This is not RSA like encryption.
Yeah.
RSA is another security conference that looks really cool. It's not super hacker oriented, but it's after the DEF
That's
CON.
definitely not what you're looking for.
Nope, not quite. No, thank you. Yeah. I guess.
It's also not the Renaissance Society.
No, it's not. Okay. This should be the one. Wait, I haven't actually seen their website. Yeah, security. Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, they got OnePass, Cambridge speakers, Wiseman Institute.
Oh, I had a look. It's 400 for DEF CON.
DEF CON's, yeah, 400
That's
for
just
the
the
speeches.
tickets, yeah.
So that, what does that get you access to? DEF CON in
Just
Singapore.
the
The talks,
things
right?
itself, yeah.
Which they haven't announced. So April 28th to 30th, it's not far away. They haven't fully announced so demo labs are, I think, where the money might cost.
The training's where the big money comes into it.
Training is where it is an
That's
issue.
like
The
the-
talks,
Single thing's like $2,300 for a training session.
and they haven't shared the talks yet, which kind of makes it hard
Which
to.
is interesting because the training's all been shared. Like they've said, okay, this is what's happening with the training. They've not said anything about.
If you look at the actual individual, not the training, wait. If you
Yeah,
look at the labs,
Look how it's sold out.
and it's like $4,000, $3,000, $5,000.
And it's sold out. Like
Yeah,
come on.
if you look at DEF CON America, which they're still hosting at the same time,
Yeah.
I'll look at 2025s because that's our actual reference. You're still going to see a couple $1,000s, and that's in USD, so much the same. I don't know if this is AU converted. You look at the workshops, but the workshops are the least of what DEF CON is. So like the workshops here, like 540 if you're online. That's expensive, but it's not end of the world.
AU converted. Nope, 540 USD. Okay.
Yeah,
But it is also significantly bigger in the US.
training, I think, is the expensive one
Yeah.
that I'm thinking of. There you go. And that's like the similar sort of thing. 2,400.
Yeah.
What's
but like,
midfield AI here?
you
It's
look at-
2,850. Well, 1,500 for
honestly, we're
AD.
saving money because
2,800 here again.
Yeah, 28 or 2,400 US is closer to like 4 or 5K nearly. So it's technically cheaper. If you
I don't think that these can be really that valuable. Like as in using Ghidra, sure, you can just
yeah.
go on the web. Like you can learn about these things. You can do free
like,
courses.
There was a couple of ones where there were training sessions, but it was more like cover stuff that that person's created. But they're like super. I think there was like one there where the guy was talking about stuff that he'd made or something. Let me see if I can find it. Because there was one of the training sessions in Singapore that I was like, that would be cool to go to.
Yeah, I wouldn't. The workshops aren't the best part. I think the speeches and the villages and those sorts of things. DEF CON. What do you get?
As I said, there's not much of the training that I'm really interested in. There. What was it?
Entry to all speeches, entry to some villages, and notably a unique electronic physical souvenir badge. Okay.
Oh, yeah, this guy here. So the training thing by Ronald Broberg and Rudy Mendoza. It's a Dark Wolf Hacker Drone Workshop. Like, that'd be cool.
That would be cool.
Like, it's a workshop. It's not just, the other ones are all like harnessing LLMs for app security, and I'm like, okay, cool.
Yep.
But that one's
Hands
actually
on.
like
There are some great ones.
something.
There are actually awesome workshops.
Yeah, or this one here, the IoT exploitation masterclass would also be pretty interesting. But then you've got stuff like strategic AI penetration, mastering offensive techniques for LLMs. Like I could Google that.
That's so cool. Yeah, I mean, also you just meet cool people here. I guess that also takes talking, which
Yeah.
But it just looks awesome.
Obviously.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. It'd be nice to do a speech at DEF CON, but I need a thing to speak about. You know need to hack something or
Need to do
find something.
Find a cool CVE or.
Yep. Yeah. How are you going today?
CVE and a $40 router from Walmart.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know if they'd even allow that to be a speech. I think that's too plain for them. Yeah, let's look at last year's what they spoke about. Yep. They also have a lot of other events in nearby areas too, just the people that you can turn up to. So DEF CON last year, they had Welcome to DEF CON, remote code execution via MIDI messages, Bit Unlocker, leveraging Windows recovery to crack BitLocker, which we talked about BitLocker for hardware encryption. Yeah. Paywall option stream for free with a new technique, recursive request exploits. The one Bitcoin heist, making a custom hashcat module to crack Bitcoin things.
That's cool.
There's more things here. No VPN needed. Crypto attacks against the. This is all like. Oh, these are at the same time. These ones. Yeah, there's 5 tracks of talks going on at the same time. So you'd have to pick. Oh, that's so painful. Yeah. So you can see there's one here.
Weaponizing VPS enclaves.
Inside, look at a Chinese operational relay.
Oh yeah, because that's why it says continue, because that one's still going on.
Chrome turning a Chromium browser into a C2 platform.
Using web conferencing to covert CNC.
Using the loss of Titan. Isn't that the Titanic submarine that crashed?
Yeah, that was the little one that imploded.
So maritime cybersecurity. Interesting, never thought about that. Torch script and PyTorch. That's a machine learning library for Python.
Yeah. Cash, drugs, and guns. Why your safes aren't safe? Okay.
So safe cracking.
Yeah, that's why you don't use electronic safes. Use the old school ones that no one knows how to open.
This could be cool as well. Cross-ring privilege escalation. That's hardware failures as well. Enter ID, formerly Azure Active Directory. Azure.
That one next to it, the Ghost of Internet Explorer in Windows, map URL stone. Interesting.
So check that one out. It might be on YouTube. In 2023, Microsoft detected a nation-state actor sponsoring a zero-click RCE in Outlook by sending an email. So zero-click meaning they had to do nothing. Microsoft fixed this by adding a call, which is map URL to Zone API to determine where a path is located, so callers can make a trusted decision. So that way, if something gets sent through, you can see is that actually the right path. Critical components rely on that to make security decisions, but a lot of researchers looked at that.
Oh, wow.
This talk will exploit differences in how these file systems are parsed. I actually didn't exploit on a machine, like a training machine, not one with this in the wild, where the vulnerability was based on the exploit path being too long for one of the applications or softwares to figure out. So let's say that you have like a folder and it's like, instead it's like CD slash, so it's, your directory is, like, your path is going to be like C, let's say it's a Windows machine. It'll be like C slash Windows slash users slash name slash desktop slash
slash data roaming.
Exactly. And then when you get to a point, actually we can even try this out now. There is a limit, and that's just because of storage, the way that hard links work on operating systems. So this might take some time. Let's say we have a folder. And then we go in that folder and we create a new.
A limit to how many subfolders.
Yeah, subfolders or and then apparently can't make it too deep. So you can use that to exploit, because it's not reading that last folder; it's only reading that far or something like that. And then you could actually put further on that platform, or use a different similar platform. It was really weird. Recording packet captures from Stingray. So we're actually going to look at PCAPs.
So 260 character path length is the maximum in Windows.
That's interesting. So you can make long folder names.
There's no limit hard-coded on the amount of subfolders you can create.
It's actually the size of the names of the folders.
The path can only be up to 260 characters.
So actually, let's try.
So it'd have to be like, I was gonna say, then just keep copying and pasting. So you and then you shouldn't be able to access. Yeah, there you go.
Cool.
Wicked. That's cool to know.
Yeah. This is packet captures. This is still Friday, by the way. This is one day, and this is 1:30. It started at like 11. So this shows you, I mean, it started at 10, but this shows you there's just so much going on, many at the same time, so you have to really miss out on some.
That's cool, the packet captures.
Packet captures, which is what we'll look at today. So PCAPs, packet captures, with a $20 hotspot. So Sting,
Yeah.
Dead Made Alive again, launch anywhere privilege escalation, investigating threat actor.
That is on, that talk about the packet captures is on YouTube.
That's great.
Because I just literally, because I was like...
You can search the name for these. A lot of these would be on
I
YouTube.
just searched it, it's like DEFCON 33, 39-minute 51 talk. Oh, that's what a stingray is, okay. That's what I was wondering, because I was like, what the fuck is a stingray? It's a cell phone IMS eye catcher.
Nope, Stingray. Okay, that's a real Stingray. Okay, so that's, you can get a cheap $20 Stingray.
Yeah, that's just a brand of an IMS eye catcher. Interesting.
Is that a $20 Stingray? Really?
Ray Hunter, $20 Stingray detector. It detects cell site simulators.
Probably build it with a couple chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's GitHub. It's a project. Yeah. They've got the software there. What is the device you need? Supported devices.
Okay.
You're using.
You could use just a random TP-Link modem.
Yeah, are they using routers? Yeah.
Oh.
4G. What is this? Just mobile. Yeah, mobile router hotspots. They're using hotspots. So whatever's a cheap hotspot, you can just add.
Cool.
You can just download that. And these would be hotspots where you can download custom things on there.
Yeah.
So TP-Link, Orbic.
Okay, yep, and it shows you what bands it operates on and everything.
That's pretty cool.
It's really cool. Okay, so all through Verizon.
One thing that I appreciate that it says here as well is it tells you subtle ways to buy these things, you know, so you can.
Bezos bucks.
Yeah.
Good on Amazon.
No, but like if you can gift card buy something, it helps avoid a layer of tracking if you're trying to be discreet. Although this shouldn't matter because you're just buying a normal.
Will you be able to get the Orbic, except on eBay because it's I'm guessing because it's Verizon, which is not in Australia.
The coverage.
Yeah. So we would have to buy it. It'd work for this, but the actual device itself probably isn't sold over here.
Yeah, true. There you go. Yeah, so you can get a second-hand version of it.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, the conferences look really cool. The talks are available. There's actually some really great talks that are like well regarded. In fact, a talk I saw these security researchers talk about is so invitation is all you need is the people that I saw talk. I think I've talked about quite a few times. The machine learning talk that I went to by these guys and I chatted with them, and it was cool seeing them. And weirdly, a small talk. I think there was like 30 people there, and 10 of them were speaking. But anyway, it's a Google report. They put it out there in Google, but it's also a DEF CON talk where they explain what they've done. I think I've maybe showed their demo website. But here they've got this one here, where I won't go through it because it's a really long one. But they're talking about how they used.
They use calendar invites to mess with the
it can do everything. They use calendar invite. It's an excellent talk, a really good talk. I've actually shared it on the Discord. Here, if you go to announcements, if you go to teacher resource pinning. Yeah. Here is their DEF CON presentation there. Because that was a great talk. A lot of labs and things that I've sent through there. This one is Raptor is an open source. It's an AI model that hunts for weaknesses and tells you how to fix them, and that's an open source project that doesn't have tons of contributors. So if you're interested in contributing to something, even if it's cleaning up documentation, it's cool to get these projects a little bit under your belt. Right, so packet captures. Today I think we will look at packet captures. Let me just get that. We'll take a little bit of a break. We'll take. Okay, it's bigger. It just looks awful. Okay, cool. Here's Wireshark, and we can see that we can add captures. Yep, so we can capture things like Wi-Fi, capture things that are going through my Ethernet adapter or my local traffic, which I don't care about right now, but that would be good if I was troubleshooting a website I was building and hosting it locally on my computer. So Wireshark gives me a few options for what traffic I want to investigate. It can be real-time traffic that's coming through, such as Wi-Fi on this Wi-Fi network. It can be traffic that is, again, my host-only traffic, any interface that my network interface card can have. It can be VPN traffic, although it might not be able to read it if it's encrypted. It can also be files that I've saved. So let's say I've saved a history, it could even be from years ago or decades ago of these network captures. Because Wireshark allows us to collect these network captures, but also view, read, and analyze these network captures later on. So that's what a packet dump is, or a network trace. And I've sent in the Discord Lab 1, Network Trace Analysis Lab 1. I've made a few different labs just to demonstrate a little bit about networking, but more specifically about network trace analysis. And so that's kind of what we are going to focus on today. So if you're using you don't have to use a Windows VM or a Windows machine, but you definitely can. Otherwise, you can just go through your Linux machine, but be aware that your networking might go through Linux. There is a link up top to downloading Wireshark if you just wanted to download it on your Windows machine, if you had one, or any Linux machine. But if it's installed, are you running a Linux or your base dark, but not Kali, right?
No, I'm running Arch.
So you might still need to install that one there if it's not already installed. It comes. Okay, that's great. Did you set it up?
I've got most of the Black Arch repos.
All right.
that I need.
Perfect. If anybody wants me to come around and help them set up Wireshark as well, like it will support with the loading, any updates, anything like that. Hey, morning. How are you? Good timing. So right now, I've sent on the Discord.
Jesus is sitting on
Yeah, he's just sitting in there on his own.
He has moved to the 25J, but that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
Yeah,
so
so
maybe he's I didn't know the schedule. Yeah, he changed intake. Yeah, I could check in if he wanted to join today's activity, but I think he might just be catching up on work alone. But yeah, sure, I'll be right back. So it will take some time to learn the Wireshark interface. It's one of these things where there is like a lot of tools out there. There's so much that you can do, but the good news is that you don't have to learn it all. A lot of it is optional or you'll pick up as you go along. And so the key thing about using Wireshark is kind of getting comfortable with how things work or what the layout is and the navigation. And then from there, you can just search up and research and build that skill set into other things. So feel free to go at your own pace if you want to move on a little bit faster ahead, but I'll definitely go at the class pace. So for anybody that needs some time to set up, I'll help with that and support with that. But while we are setting up and downloading Wireshark, so you can use a virtual machine for this one. If Kali might have Wireshark already pre-installed, should do. But if you wanted to install on your Windows or Mac machine, then you can install through this link that I put in the link that's in the worksheet at the top. So Wireshark allows us to capture and review packet captures, and we can find heaps of information. Things like, it can be helpful for anything, basically. Website security, malware analysis, suspicious forensics, forensic activity, instant response. Wireshark is extremely helpful. And let's show an example. So we can open a packet capture that we've saved from earlier, or we can also just monitor traffic in real life, so in real time. So let's say I wanted to monitor on my computer Wi-Fi coming through. So Wi-Fi on this device. I'll select my Wi-Fi adapter. I don't Ethernet and I'm not plugged in with. I'm not too worried about these ones. I'm wanting to watch my Wi-Fi. So if I double click that, lots of stuff will come through. Like you can see I've only been running it for a few seconds and it's already captured thousands. So if I were to look at the things that are going on here, it looks very, very overwhelming. In fact, I'm going to stop that capture. So now it's stopped at 5,700. We can actually look through the types of traffic coming through. So this all looks like gibberish to us at this point in time. Numbers on the left to right basically are just your number of frames that you captured. So it's going to be 1 through to, you can see I've captured 5711. So that's the frames in the order that they came in. Here's the time that they arrived, which helps us piece together patterns of when things arrived. The source IP address, destination. So in my case, I'm MSI, that's my computer. So it's resolved that for me. It knows that. You might have a IP address that is yours, that is different. The protocol that it used, and then any other columns. And you can even add your own columns and find out more from this later on, which we will do. But there is tons of information going through. TCP would be your handshakes. So as you can see, the first things I'm capturing already, a TCP handshake. So bit of a question, bit of a callback. Can anybody tell me the difference between TCP and UDP? Or not the difference, like what are they first and foremost? So,
They're network protocols.
They are network protocols, yeah. And you were about to say the transport protocols. Yeah, they're for transporting, that's right. So they're for moving things from point A to point B. So TCP, they're network protocols, specifically transport protocols. So TCP is, wow, I'm blanking here. User datagram and transmission control protocol. So TCP, or transmission control protocol, is the slower one. UDP is user datagram protocol. Oh.
UDP is just spraying things.
Yep.
Spray and pray.
Exactly. TCP is like, so what TCP will do is it's reliable, but it's slow. UDP is fast but unreliable. So
Jokes about UDP, but you probably wouldn't get it.
Oh, okay. It took me actually a second, embarrassingly. That's a good one. So TCP, one way we can think about it is every time we send part of a message or a message, let's say we have a big file to send, or we'll think about a file that we're sending over the network as a Lego set. So what TCP will be is we send each Lego brick along, each packet along, and that Lego brick will have a number on it and instructions on where to place it, so how to reassemble it on the other side. And basically with TCP, what will happen is the receiver will receive the Lego brick that you've sent and send you back a message saying, I've received the Lego brick, send me another one. And then you send another one, and then it says, I've received it. And then if it doesn't send confirmation of a receipt, then you resend it again. And that way, it verifies at every stage. It's a handshake back and forth. It's quite slow because it's this whole back and forth. It's not really one at a time. It can be like, well, I'll send you 10 packets, and then you verify that you've received 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 and 9 and 10, but you haven't received 7. I resend 7 along with my next 10. So it's a bit faster than just one packet at a time, but it is very slow. It's all this back and forth. It's good for things that need to be accurate. Things like files, where if a single bit, 1 or 0 is off, it could corrupt the file, corrupt the program, make it not work. Things like messages, same deal. UDP is fast, but it doesn't check. It doesn't do any checks at all. It's like throwing these Lego bricks at this person, and they don't know how to rebuild it or restructure it. They're just building it, stacking it in the order that they receive it in, which is what we use. It's very fast, but it's not really checking anything. So that's what we use for things like, where might we use UDP? What sort of services or platforms do we think we might use that? So TCP more like files, messages.
Brain no work.
That's fine, that's fine. If you need to research a little bit too, that's right.
I don't use UDP for much at all, yeah. Oh yeah, things like VoIP and stuff.
So UDP can be things like, what sort of applications or programs
VoIP.
would use VoIP? Yeah.
So
Discord. So things like the calls that we make on Discord chats. Twitch, live streaming, gaming, YouTube videos, music that we stream, FaceTime,
stuff that
WhatsApp calls, video and audio. All of that can be, real time quick things that need to be quick. I wonder if we're using voice recordings, that's probably TCP sent in, because that's a recording as opposed to, okay, so still UDP. Oh no, that says real time. So yeah, reliable things like email and file is TCP. Fast things like music and videos, because it doesn't actually matter if music's sending, you know, 1 million packets while we listen to a song. If we miss a couple packets, we're not going to notice anything. It's same with a video. It might buffer for a second if we're losing a lot of packets, but we're really not going to notice much.
With gaming, if you're losing a couple of packets, it won't really make a big difference, because it's better to know where someone is now than know 100% where they were 5 seconds ago.
Exactly. So it. Sorry, don't freak out by seeing this. This is a normal thing. In fact, I've got the same thing. Yeah, so I didn't mean to. This is another thing about network captures, is I actually always have to be mindful that if I was doing this in a public place, this would be illegal. So, sorry, I should have really checked with everybody in this building, you know, before doing it.
So you have to know. Mine doesn't actually have a name, as far as I know. I think you have to find it by the IP.
Mine's MSI, but yeah, we do. So that's this one here. If you see that on the network, that's me. And we can see that there's also a bunch of protocols that aren't TCP or UDP, because not even if they use TCP or UDP to move from place to place, it might actually have a different protocol as well on that level. So like for example, DNS is a protocol for domain name service or domain name solving. DNS, what that does is let's say that I have an IP address with DNS, domain name system. So let's say that I receive a message, or I want to send a message to google.com. What DNS will do for me is I say, where is google.com? And DNS says back to me, DNS responds, google.com is at this IP address.
8.8.8.8.
Yep, and that's true for actually the DNS servers, that's right, yeah. DNS is here, and so then I can send my message to x.x.x.x, and it will go to the right spot. And that's kind of the gist of DNS. It does a lot more than that, but it's basically about finding things and mapping, you know, names to
Domain name something.
domain name system. So yeah, you can have like DNS server, so domain name system server. So that's why sometimes I think DNS is domain name server, but it's not actually that.
Yeah, that's good, because that's what I always hear it as, but I'm like, I don't think that's actually it.
It's not. It's not. So here, if we actually look at the frames back in order, so you can see that I can filter, you know, from the top to the bottom like this with these frames, and this is just what I captured in a few seconds, and it's thousands of frames. I can see that I've got actually a TCP handshake. Before TCP communications happen, you get something called a TCP handshake. I will bring this up, and that is basically where a TCP will make a three-way connection back and forth between the server and the client. Why is that so blurry? To make sure that they've established communication. So each header, each packet that we're sending, that we're looking at in Wireshark, has tons of information in it. The packet varies protocol to protocol. This is not something you have to memorize, but basically you have your metadata, your information like your source and your destination, and some other information. So your source, destination, what type of packet am I using, some other information about this packet, like am I sending, am I receiving, am I verifying, whatever, am I closing this connection, and then your actual data inside. So this is the structure of a TCP segment. It's not something you have to memorize at all. In fact, it's not something that I have. Actually, I do know this one, but basically no other headers. And it's got some flags in here, where they're just single bits that will tell you how you're setting this up. So setting up a connection. So if you sent a bit of data, a TCP header over, a TCP packet over, you could send it with a value set to 1, a control bit set to 1 instead of 0, and if it's in the right spot, then the receiver will know, okay, this means that we are trying to reset the connection, or this means we're trying to acknowledge this. So depending on the combination, it can tell you that. So TCP does a three-way handshake, basically. UDP is faster but unreliable, TCP is reliable. So TCP will basically first, the client, like our computer, will send a message to the server, and that message will have the SYN flag set or synchronize and say, please can we synchronize? It's like if you meet somebody and you say, are we all right to chat? And then basically the TCP server will send back a response that says, your synchronize is acknowledged, as in I'm happy to chat, thank you, and I've received your message. And then the TCP client will say, acknowledge that you've said yes. And now that they've all acknowledged this back and forth, it's like, can we please chat? Yes, we can chat. All right, thank you. I hear that you've said that we can chat. Now that they can communicate back and forth. And that's actually what I'm monitoring on Wireshark here, is I can actually see in order that when I made a connection to this site, what's happened is I've got my last bit. So I've basically, what's happened is a website sent to me, synchronize acknowledge, which means I've just made a request to synchronize, and then I've said acknowledge back, closing out that one. If we scroll down a little bit, we can see the same sort of thing. I'll look for a...
Because looking at the connection to that Hoffman Tables website, there's no SYN request, it's just QUIC instead.
Okay, so let's check this out. So with TCP, we can do a bunch of things. We can also have filters here. We can filter before we capture, so we're not capturing a bunch of wasteful data, which I didn't do. I just captured everything, which is why I got 5,000 in a few seconds. That's just the passive data on this network. Or I can add a filter afterwards when I'm investigating.
Yep.
The pros of capturing everything means that you get more data. The downside is it takes up more storage if you're keeping that for security reasons, and it's harder to look through. Even if you can figure out more from it, it can be overwhelming and you can have a lot of useless data that covers up the really important data. But let's say that we are looking at, I can also search by things. So there's a bunch of Wireshark. In fact, I should have, just bear with me one moment. I will also send this through. Finish that one. Nope, didn't update. Oh, it's not synced. Okay. There are a bunch of Wireshark filters that are accessible, but you can search things like ip.source and equals MSI or whatever my MSI IP address is. I can actually just check that one out. And I can figure out, and I can only filter for the traffic coming from my MSI machine, or IP destination, IP.dst, or IP address. If I don't care if it's coming to or going from, I just want to see both. So let's say I wanted to make a new capture, and I wanted to capture my connection to Hoffman Tables. So I don't really care about anything else. In fact, I can say that when I capture, I want to start a capture. So right now this is live. Let's say I wanted to start with options to Wi-Fi, and I can even set a capture filter, only capture from this website or this place. I'm not going to do that for now, I'm just going to capture everything, but I can also do that when I capture. And I'm going to go to http://hoffmantables.com.
And you should see connections to 110.232.143.
So that's right, and in fact I might struggle to know what is the right connection. There's so many thousands here. I've stopped it, captured about 1,000 packets. How do I know what is and isn't helpful? Here's Hoffman Tables. The connection that we have made is an HTTP connection. So what is the difference between HTTP and HTTPS on a website?
Security.
Yeah, it's encryption. It's cryptography.
HTTPS on Hoffman Tables.
So it will redirect to HTTPS. If you put in the HTTP specifically, it will go HTTP. So you see I've got not secure. So it lets you do both. So I can do HTTP and I can do HTTPS. So right now we're doing the insecure one, HTTP.
When I clicked on the link in the...
It will, yeah, that's browser security that automatically does that. So you have to be really mindful. I should have pointed that out a little bit too. That's normal.
The IP for it, I just pinged it.
So if we go through the settings, what we've done is we've started our capture. We've captured from the right interface, which was in our case just our Wi-Fi. And we've navigated to Hoffman Tables. So make sure that it's to HTTP Hoffman Tables like this. Navigate there. And then once it's loaded, we can stop our capture. The red stop. Now we want to find out, we know that there's connections to Hoffman Tables, and we could actually figure it out just looking through this. But let's say somebody's got a phone called Goober Boy, or a device called that.
They do indeed.
And they're doing something called an ARP broadcast, which basically is figuring out who has an IP address, which is a normal thing that computers do in the background. Can also be used for host discovery, for pen testing, for recon, or security testing. But anyway, I've basically created a capture. I've captured my network, captured a Huffman tables. One thing that I can do is, as you found already the IP address, is I can use something like NSLOOKUP. So in Windows, NSLOOKUP, and you could also go to web pages like that. So, and I'm not sure what it is on Mac, but it would be there. You could just search up NSLOOKUP. Who owns Huffman? What is it? HuffmanTables.com.
And it doesn't work.
Maybe it's it's because I've done the HTTP there. NSLOOKUP.
Well, I just did ping.ww.
There we go. So NSLOOKUP HuffmanTables.com
Oh,
without the HTTP, and it tells us that the server address is this or this. You know, so 110.232. Is that what you got?
110.232.143.4.
Perfect. So that's our IP address. What I can do is now filter all the traffic that comes to and from this IP address. So I can monitor that. And in fact, I can monitor, and I'm just monitoring from my computer in this case, because I'm capturing from my interface. I'm not going to monitor your connections.
That's why I got the QUIC connections instead of the TCP connections I'm missing because I was connected to the HTTPS.
Exactly. But if you wanted to
That's what I
recapture,
got.
exactly. If you wanted to do the recapture again, so click capture, don't save your old capture, and navigate to http huffmantables.com. Okay, no problem. That's fine.
And then I can stop it. So it will just still apply so that it can show me all a bunch of random crap.
And if I actually wanted to monitor,
the 3 TCP connections to the handshake, the acknowledgement, and then the acknowledgement back.
exactly. So I can actually see something going on here. I can see that first my computer, MSI is my name. I'll change that to, I'll set it to Jesse. And I'll set, sorry?
Oh no, it's not double. It's weird.
And I'll set, so I'll put that in order that it arrived in. And I'll set this edit resolve name to destination to Huffman tables. So that's just so it looks different. You know, it's still those IP addresses. I'm just setting it that so we can better know who's talking back and forth and it's more easy to follow.
So with mine, it literally all I captured was sin, sinac, ack.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got like sin, sinac, ack, ack.
But I think maybe did you let the page load fully before you went on there?
Yeah.
If you wanted to, you could even click a button and check that out and try that again. But
Like I still got the full handshake. It's just weird that yours has got the doubles and mine's not.
you seem to have, you've got more than that as well. Below it there.
Yeah, no, but just like the initial one was just the 1,
Oh.
2, 3, and then the HTTP get, and then another TCP.
That's fine because it's
Yeah.
checking on different ports as well. It's checking port 80 and port 36500, which is maybe maybe another device on the network doing the same thing because I only captured my device in that time period. If somebody else connected to Huffman tables at the same time,
No,
you
that's,
might
the
have,
source is my IP.
all of the time. Yeah.
Yep.
Do you want me to check out what's going on there? Because this is what this is exactly what.
Do you want me to half screen my browser with this, or?
It's fine. You don't need the browser.
I was going to say, just
that's
go
good.
bang and bring them up.
So Huffman Tables is just a random website that supports both.
Continue without saving. So this is just still already filtered to Hoffman tables.
Yep, and I guess we could open up a new connection. Because it's already been open, it might already have a bit of a handshake running.
Maybe.
And then once it's there, that's there. You've got the filter to Huffman Tables, and it looks like you have them all. You've got these
Yeah.
events
I'm just
here.
confused why yours has got the double up.
How do I full screen this one here?
Just chuck it on a new workspace. Put it on
Okay,
workspace 1.
nice. You got your Sinac, Ack. Yep,
Yeah, the handshake's all correct. It's
that's fine. That's what it often does. Is it's just might be checking for security purposes, something like that. And then this is you getting
Yeah.
something. If you wanted to make it more clear who is who, I know that you're following fine, but you can right-click that,
Yeah,
edit
do-
resolve name,
and have it
or
like
right-click that, edit resolve
me
name.
and Hoffman tables or something like that.
And that's all fine. You can see that you're getting stuff. It's actually the same as mine. So basically what's going on here is back to our handshake. And you can see how mine's doubled up as well because I'm checking on 2 ports. My port.
That's why.
So I'm checking on Huffman tables. So it's on my port.
Mine's only using port 388 and 80.
I'm going to make me, in this case, green. And Huffman tables red. So it's using the TCP protocol. And basically what's going on is we can see the size, the length. You can actually, even when data's encrypted, you can figure out information from the length sometimes. but sometimes it's filled out. Like if it's padded, it's always going to be the same length anyway. And I can see some information. So I can see that from my ports, 19257 and 30125, random ports, I'm connecting to Huffman tables on port 80, and this is me making that synchronized request, which is our stage one of the handshake. I'm doing two at once. But basically it's the same thing. It's syn.
Why is your computer special? Why do you send two requests at once?
Syn ACK, yeah. And then hopefully I send an ACK back if everything works.
Yeah.
It's doing it twice, but it's actually, you can basically just look at one. It's the same thing going on. It's just from two different ports.
And it resolves perfectly on both ports.
It resolves perfectly on both ports. It might be even like a browser security extension. I could probably figure out how it's handling that later on. It looks like it's only using this port though. 30125 is the only one that matters.
Yeah.
19257 might be my firewall or something else maybe trying to do that. I'm not actually too sure. 19257.
At least I know why it did that now. I understand, like, it's just the two different ports.
Yeah. But two of my ports that I chose to make two different request ports. 19257 is generally
non-standard port for well-known services. Oh yeah, that's helpful.
yeah, cool. It's the malware in my computer. No, it's probably something I've set up and forgotten about.
Those damn Chinese bombers.
And then so we can see that first. We'll just look at 30125. We ignore all the 12571 ones. Yeah. So 30125, it makes a response back. So from Huffman tables port 80, because you can see that they're the sender now, they make a response back to my 30125, and that's what they make the response back to, and that's a SYNAC that they've made. And then again, I finally acknowledge with my ACK back to them, and then that's an established connection. Now I can make a GET request, which is an HTTP request.
Do you use UFW?
Not on this device, no.
Okay, because I know I had a quick Google and it did say that sometimes UFW will use 19257.
No, but actually maybe I do. I don't think I've got UFW on the VM, but that shouldn't matter at all.
No, that shouldn't matter.
Yeah, no, but that's probably what it is. I'm assuming it's some form of firewall that I've set up, or maybe Splunk.
Yeah.
Splunk.
Yeah.
All right. So that's that connection, and that basically says, looking through these logs, that I've established a successful connection to this website. It doesn't actually say anything that I've done, and I haven't really done anything on this website, but I have loaded the web page, and I can actually see that. If I actually look at what's going on here, I can select any of these packets, and look at more information on them. So
You can check all the stream index, stream packet number.
So I can see basically the packet information, the frame, the order that it came in, and how it was captured. I can see the Ethernet, or the basically what device it was sent from, what device it came to. So in this case, this one was sent from Asus Tech computer, which I guess is my computer, is my MAC address. So here's my MAC address. And then this is the source. The source is me. So I'm the Intel computer, and I've sent it to Asus Tech computer. So I can already find out Huffman tables is hosted using Asus Tech. So how do we think that, do we see something that Wireshark is doing here? This is our MAC address. Yeah, this set of hexadecimal, you see these 6 hexadecimal pairings, 10.7c. this, that is a MAC address on a computer. Now the first 3...
Asus have a thing it should do, shouldn't it?
Yep, that's right. So a MAC address is made up of a total of 12 hexadecimal characters.
Yeah. And what is that MAC address? 10.7c. Don't know what that is then.
Well, so the first 3 of the hexadecimal characters are your vendor ID.
Yeah, just because Asus Tech, their routers are generally 00E018 or 0442.
It could be router specific. Instead of searching for their routers, search, because sometimes one company might have multiple vendor IDs.
Yeah.
Search the 10.7c.61 and you should be able to find. Because basically MAC addresses, the first half is your vendor and your last half is your unique identifier. So 10.7c.61 vendor ID, and that should give us Asus Tech Computer Incorporated, which is exactly what we see here, and we can see Wireshark is kind enough to actually resolve that for us. Now, here we have my MAC address that I sent from, A02942, and then the rest is the unique part. So what do we think that vendor ID would be?
Intel, I assume.
It would be Intel, and we can actually see that because it tells us that that's Intel. And if I were to search
What's that dang website?
A02942
Yeah, if you go to
vendor ID,
just because I've had a look before when I was doing
Intel, yeah.
Wireshark fiddle-faddling around. Macvendors.com.
Yep, macvendors.com is one way that you could check it. Wireshark is kind enough to actually search from a common list and resolve it for us, but we might still want to follow that up and verify. What it means is that, let's say we had a capture of certain devices, we could figure out or fine-tune a bit of information from them, what type of device, especially if it had all this information flowing. That's just our transport. Here's our transport as well. Information about the size that we're sending. I know it all looks like gibberish, but in time with practice, these things will become quite intuitive. Now, here's the actual protocol that we sent, our TCP packet. You can see where we sent it to, destination port 80. We can see, some information there. There's actually not a lot going on there because it's just an acknowledgement. Acknowledgement, response, acknowledgement. Now with HTTP, we get a little bit more information. The same is this is true for at the top. It's all our transport, and then below we have our HTTP information in there, and that we can see we're making a GET request. That's us making a request to Huffman Tables. Please show us what is on your website. That's what the GET is. Please give that to us. If Huffman Tables responds back, that's where it will be helpful. So here let's see. So we've made a request to Huffman Tables. We made a full request. We can see that it's made a response. It says response in frame 330. And what has it responded? Huffman Tables. Okay, we'll load text/HTML on our website. And
As well, if you look in the GET request, there's actually a part of it there for upgrading secure requests.
Yes, so that would be.
That it would automatically generally update to HTTPS.
Yes, it would want to. It would want to do that.
Cool.
Which is why that's what would have happened if you just followed that link.
Oh,
And that's my browser security settings, or your browser security settings that are doing that. What?
Shows you the TTL for the packets.
Yes, yeah, it does.
Generally tells you if it's Windows or Linux.
Yeah, it will tell you. It will tell you even a little bit about your browser. In the GET request, it'll say, "Hey, I'm wanting to get a." So let's look at my GET request. I want to get Mozilla 5.0. That's some information like that. Chrome 1.4.6. You can figure out some info from there. And it's as it said at the bottom, it said response in frame 330. If we check frame 330, we can see Huffman Tables has said to my computer in this case.
64 would be Linux. Sorry. Windows is a 128 TTL on standard, I believe.
So Huffman Tables responded back to me with HTTP, and it said OK, which basically is a 200 code, OK. So we recognize some HTTP codes. 200, means successful, so it won't show us an error message because it would just load our page, but that is our default. That's what we want. We might recognize something like error 404. What is that one? When we load a website or a page and we get a 404, not found. If I try made up website randomnumbers.com, I'll get they couldn't even find out anything. But if I go to a website, let's say I search Huffman Tables, and I went to Huffman Tables / random resource. Oh, that's fine as well. Random resource. 404 page not found because it can't find that page. If I'm not allowed to visit a page, what error might I get? Like I'm not an admin and it's an admin only page.
Admin error is not 300, is it?
No, it's
201.
It's 403 actually.
403.
So most of the fails of 400s, if it's like an intentional by design fail. If it's like a redirect, it could be 300 or 200s.
300 is a redirect.
So Huffman Tables has responded. They've responded okay. And if we actually look, we can actually see this data. And if we look at this data here, does this look familiar? So I've opened up HTTP, Hypertext Protocol. I've opened up line-based text data that they've sent back. What do we think is going on here? This might look quite hard to read.
Just loading the website.
That's loading the website. What are we seeing here in this view?
The HTML.
In fact, let's compare it side to side. Let's go view page source, doc type HTML public W3C DD. We can see
Got the comment, the global site tag.
global site tag. We can see it's actually the same website that it's loaded that we've captured. We've captured us loading the site. In fact, we can do something with Wireshark, which takes us a step further because it's all assembled for us. Basically, we can go File, Export Objects, HTTP, and we have our text/HTML, which was the thing that loaded. Save. I'll save it to my downloads as
So you can say it was a .html.
Hoffman.html. So I've already done this. Now if I open it, what do we think I'll find?
The website.
The website, but it's my file. It'll be on my system.
Yeah.
So you can see it's file. And here's the website, right? I'm viewing the website.
But because it doesn't, so if it had custom pictures and stuff, they would just come up as blank images, would they?
If it had custom pictures that loaded on my end, those might save as well. Although if it had custom pictures that it hosted from another place, then maybe it would be blank unless I downloaded those as
I
well.
was gonna say maybe
But
it depends how they link to the
so
picture.
for example, there was another request that I made to it wasn't a GET request to that, it was a request for a favicon, and it responded 404 favicon.ico not found, yeah? So
Yeah,
I made a request that didn't exist. It never loaded on my web page. It never loaded here as well. But we can see that even here, the HTML, it did load it from another site. It just saved it, I think. So if I looked at the page source again, we can see that it's loaded whatever. Oh, that's GTag manager. I think that might be all very local. But
Yeah.
even the text or the font, even the font is from another place. Yes, I think we do. Let me check.
Oh, Comic Sans, we love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the best website ever.
That's it. Best font.
Just what you're teaching them all to do, yeah?
Yeah.
Just nice comments.
It's not about making the signage when you come into the board, just having a common sense.
I think we should.
Basically looking at how the Wireshark does this. Shows you that's all the communication between us and the website.
And HTTP, so no encryption.
Right, no encryption.
Learning how to read it all.
Yeah, cool. It's
Yes.
just the interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. So what you'd have to do maybe is, are you still capturing? Yep. So that's all coming through. Have you visited the website? Make sure you visit the Hoffman Tables site.
Okay.
So I'm going to actually stop this capture and start a fresh one in a second.
I didn't notice that before. That's cool. When you click on a GET request, it shows you the associated.
How are you opening this Hoffman table program?
The Hoffman Tables. Why am I opening it?
Yeah, how you opening?
I'm just going on the web browser like this. HoffmanTables.com.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a fresh capture. Start. I'm not going to save the old one. I'm going to now go to hoffmantables.com. And then once it's loaded, I'm going to stop it. And now that filter should work.
And when you typing the commands, it ends in the Kali.
The commands, it doesn't have to be in Kali. I posted on the Discord those commands, but it can be on your machine as well, your Windows. The NS lookup one that I did, this one. Do you mean this? Do you mean this command here?
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, I just did that.
On the command prompt.
On command prompt is perfect, and I did NS lookup, which is namespace lookup, hoffmantables.com, and that helps me find out. I'll do it again. That helps me find out that the IP address is 10.10.232.143.4. It's going to be the same for you, this one here. That's all right, no rush. Wireshark's a new interface. It will take some time to get used to as well. So we're just going to try to get a little bit of a start in it today. Sorry? Hoffmantables.com, yeah. So, yeah, it's very specific. It needs to be like how the website is, like the URL was. So, NS lookup.
Okay, NS.
Yep. And it'll be Hoffman with an O, tables.com, which was our website that we navigated to. Same as up there. And then what we can do is enter, and we get our IP address that we reached out to it with.
And you paste in here, right?
Yeah, ip.address equals,
Okay.
and that will show us everything where, I didn't copy it though. IP dot, and you actually already got it there, I think, saved from before. You can select that one. It remembers your recent ones, and that should be the same. 143.4, yep, enter. And that will show you your communications with that IP address. So, all good.
Little arrows for the GET request, and that's where the actual
response
associated
comes.
response.
That's nice. Oh yeah, that's actually something I didn't
yeah,
notice.
that's
Yeah, that might be a new thing. I've never actually seen that before.
Makes it easier.
Or maybe I've just missed it somehow. But yeah, yeah, that's a good point. So here's me making a request this way. Here's it giving a response back, so we can actually tie together those requests. And we can see that I can capture that request when it's HTTP, and because it's not encrypted at all, there's no protection.
Yeah.
Anybody could capture that request that I made to Hoffman Tables and view the response that it sent back to me, because it's literally just using HTTP. It's not encrypted traffic, which shows you how important encryption is. They could rebuild that site exactly. If I put in my password through a login page on a site like this, they could capture that password input. It just goes on. Like they can literally reassemble that site exactly as I did. So when I had that, now I've downloaded a file that is what I've intercepted, and they'll have a file that tells us exactly what the site looks like. They can even view the page source like that.
That's how you set up phishing.
And yeah, they could build a copy of this website if they wanted to. They could do that anyway, but yeah. Now we're going to try the same thing again, a new captcha, but instead of so we're not using a VM here. So well, yeah, but if you were, you'd be mindful of that. We can see that traffic. We can even see that page that it's rendered. So what do we think are some of the issues of using plain text protocols when exchanging messages online?
Obviously, all the information is visible.
Anybody can capture it. Anybody can view it. What are some examples of some risks that could happen, or some sort of websites, or even if it's an application, a web app that we're using?
Just credentials.
And it doesn't have to be a website that we browse to. It could be something on our phone, a mobile app, a program. So yeah, credentials is a big one. What other information can be leaked?
From the website, any information that's entered into the website or stored on the website.
Yeah, exactly. Accounts. It could be secure environments, credentials, sensitive. It could be medical, financial. Let's say your banking app had this problem, then there would be your banking logins and also your transfers and private credentials, passwords. It's terrible. So now we're going to try the same capture again, but instead of navigating to HTTP Hoffman tables, we're going to do HTTPS.
And it'll be quick instead of TCP.
So continue without saving. I don't care about saving my old progress. I'm going to make a capture. Stop that one. And yeah, if we look through it, that's exactly right. We see quick. Or if we scroll up to the top of all this capture, so you can leave that same filter present as well. And we can still see before the information starts flowing, we can see there's still SYN, SYNAC, ACK. That still happens, yeah? This TCP connection, this TCP protocol, if I look at everything in order.
HTTPS, I'm just seeing the ACK. I'm not seeing any SYN requests.
Did you maybe start going to that page before you press capture?
No, I just refreshed it after I captured.
Are you in order, like number 20, like are your frames in ascending order? Yeah, let me check that. Because you should still be seeing the SYN command.
Just getting ACK requests.
Are you at the top of that list there?
This is the, no.
That's correct order. That's your web page.
Yeah,
That's
this
not,
is the from.
that's your personal
I was just looking at the
IP.
from.
Instead, use their IP source. Instead, I'd use all communications back and forth with those ones. That's why you're not getting it, because you're only looking at you as the source. It's not going to get. It's not going to get anything as them as the source. Yeah.
Shit, what was it?
110.232. 143. 143.4. So the reason that wasn't working is because you were filtering by source only, which is good. You do that sometimes, except yeah, scroll up to the top of those communications, and oh, your capture's still ongoing. That might be part of it.
Yeah, I got no idea.
I'd retake that capture with that filter there. So just start it again, chuck out the old data, and navigate back to https hoffmantables.com. But essentially what's going on here is, yeah, we're going to have our same TCP communication, that handshake, SYN, SYNAC, ACK, and then we're going to have a different type of connection because it's going to be an HTTPS connection where...
It's the SYN plus after that I'm getting, because it's a protected packet, I'm getting the quicks after it.
Yeah, perfect. And just stop that one. Yep, so if we went back to the top in order.
That's in order. It sends the first TCP as a SYN.
SYNAC. Yeah, but when are you starting your capture? Are you capturing first and then...
Yep.
And then go to, where's the web page?
Up here, so you click on the 2.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. And then just refresh that.
I'm just going to make a new request through. Even a new tab because...
Yeah.
Because it might have already remembered that connection from before if it's on the same browser.
And then a whole bunch of quicks.
Stop. Yeah, it's quicks from the get-go because I think it's already opened that up on the browser. You might already have that functioning, but the same point still stands. So
Yeah,
if you close those both, yeah, so it shouldn't. Hopefully, cache isn't too big an issue. Continue without saving.
Try it again.
Wait, that's right. Why is it UDP?
Yeah, that's what I'm not.
Are you capturing on the Wi-Fi channel?
Yeah.
What's your interface? Is this your normal Wi-Fi interface capture?
That's the one I capture the Wi-Fi through.
Oh, spelled it wrong.
That's
but
alright.
I didn't even save it.
Oh, what the hell? Still didn't save it.
Unusual. Yeah.
I might restart Wireshark and just...
Okay. Yeah. It's not too much of an issue. This is just your TCP handshake. And then after that, we can see it's all using, instead of using HTTPS, it's using TLS v1.3. TLS is your transport layer security. That is in HTTPS, it stands for HTTP secure, and the S can be SSL/TLS. That's fine. Wait, the red one?
The TLS, the one you had.
That's
said
perfect.
it's
That's
a-
exactly right. Yep. So you saw the same thing. You saw your acknowledgement. Perfect. I'm actually going to stop it because it's still capturing.
Okay.
We can see that the data coming through, even though before we could actually see what all that data was, right? We could even reassemble the web page from it. If now I tried to reassemble the web page from this, it just wouldn't be possible because it's encrypted using TLS. And if I looked at TLS, I can see handshake protocol, I can see session ID and some information that I captured. But I cannot not actually see, encrypted client hello. It's all gibberish to me. I can't actually.
Yeah.
There's nothing I can do with this unless I
I'm still getting the quicks
Crack the key.
before the handshake, like a bunch of those quick protocol ones through the
Yeah.
UDP channel.
That's
But then I'm getting a full handshake now as well. I'm getting SYN, SYNAC, and ACK.
yeah. Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's check what. So quick is actually just.
It's through UDP. It's a different transmission
Yeah,
protocol.
yeah. Quick is just it's got some security things. So maybe it's actually an inbuilt browser thing. What browser are you using? Firefox? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's basically supposed to be the newer, more secure TCP.
Yeah. It's like a.
But
It's
it
not gonna
uses
phase
the
out.
UDP protocol.
It
which is
does.
weird.
It's like an UDP plus encryption. So what it does is it doesn't have that handshake.
But then I'm still getting.
Oh, it's clever actually. It's really clever.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah,
I
I'll
was
look-
looking into it before because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, frick, it's quick.
Yeah, it is quick. Yeah, literally. And we can see that there's these handshakes here. And even though TCP, we can read the things that are going on, who's making these requests, what's responding. TLS, we can't actually understand really what's going on. We can see that we're making a request and it's sending a response back. And we can maybe make a good guess as to what that is, but we actually can't really piece together what is going on here. Because if I look at it, so we can see now the importance of encryption in our communications. And if we look at the application data exchange, between these clients and payloads, we'll look at sort of the same sort of thing that we saw before, like a GET request or something. We wouldn't even know. It just says application data. If we look and we open it, we can't even really tell what's going on. Like it's gibberish. And I mean, we might say that for anything that's coming through anyway. But look, encrypted application data, and it's just all these numbers. It's not these columns and these readable HTML. If we extract, so
You don't get any more. You don't get any GET requests anymore either.
So we can see the same thing, exactly. We can see the same sort of things going on. We make a SYN acknowledgement. And do we notice anything different about what we did before? Previously, when I made a synchronized acknowledgement, I basically connected to them, or it connected back to me. I connected to Huffman Tables port 80, and it responded back from its port 80. So I connected to port 80, and it responded back to me. Now, what port am I connecting to, and is it responding back on? So when it was 8...
Well, you're connecting to... There's two different ports. I'm just trying to see what one's...
No, but... So, yeah, so I was... So,
you're coming from 23031 and 16727.
And what is Huffman Tables?
Oh, 443, yeah.
Huffman Tables now
HTTPS.
is 443 for HTTPS, and that's pretty standard. I mean, you could host them anywhere, but 80 was what we saw before when we did this, when we could see the data from Huffman Tables, is all the port that it was using was port 80, and the port that we were sending to was port 80. Now that it's HTTPS, it is using port 443 instead, which basically means that is its encrypted counterpart. 443 is HTTPS, which is our secure version of HTTP. So
17 cipher suites.
does anybody want a bit of help with that 443 part? Yeah, again, one more time. I'll show the demo through. So if we look at, if we make a capture, and I visited Huffman Tables on HTTP, so not HTTPS, just HTTP. Capture, start, continue without saving. Capture that, I'll stop my capture. And if I were to look at that connection, I can see I synchronize, it acknowledges, I acknowledge back, then I make a GET request, and it responds to my GET request here. You can see there's a little arrow coming out, a little arrow going in. I try to get that. It responds, and I can actually view all that data, and we could even see that I could reassemble that data. Now if I try to do that exact same process again, so I'll do a HTTPS instead of HTTP. I make a capture, start, capture, stop. You can see actually a whole lot more flow through there. So let's look at what's going on.
If you look at the...
It seems like I might have already made that previous request, so that's why it still had my session.
It's
If
got
maybe
4 different algorithms listed.
maybe I'll start on a private session actually. That might be helpful. I'll start that again. I'll make a capture. I'll stop that. And if we look at it, you can see I make synchronize, acknowledge. Yeah, it was your browser session. So if you made a private incognito tab or something like that, that would give you your full acknowledgement. And then basically what's happened is after I've done that TCP connection, TLS has done something special. TLS has made a client hello. So TLS is your encryption, and first thing it does is creates another handshake. It creates another handshake. And in that hello, it actually tells us what encryption method to use. So what happens?
17 cipher suites.
Yes, it does.
4 and then 4 different algorithms on the
Right, 16.
signature hash.
Yes. And that's basically what it can support. So what will happen is in this client hello, it'll say, I'm saying to Huffman Tables, in fact, let's look at exactly what I'm saying. Hello, this is my random number that I've generated.
Yeah.
Here is our session ID that we're going to be using for this. Here are my cipher suites that I support. Not that we're going to use for this chat, but here's all of the encryption methods that I support. And the Huffman Tables is going to respond back to me
So
and say
what determines the cipher suites that you support?
my device and my policy, even Active Directory.
You've got 16 and I've got 17, so I was just wondering.
Yeah. So I'm saying that I'm happy for communication with SHA, with the AES, with this and with that.
Yeah.
If I worked at a government, maybe their policy would be I'm only happy with one of the top levels, and a bunch of sites wouldn't work.
I
Yeah.
think the one that's different is it's SHA-2512.
Yeah, possibly. I might actually support that one as well, but there will be a difference. And it's basically saying, what does my computer or my browser or my connection support? And basically Huffman Tables would say, actually, as a server, we only support these. Actually, let's check what they say. instead of making a guess. As a server, we only support.
What does that come under?
Cipher Suite, we support TLS char 20 poly 1305 SHA256, and that's happens to be. So what they do is they look for they compare the two lists, and they say we support these lists, and they choose the best possible encryption method out of that shared list. Now there might be a policy where Hoffman Table says actually we only allow this connection, and I say unfortunately my device doesn't connect that way, and it says okay never mind, you can't connect to my server. You can only connect during a secure connection.
So where did you see the one where that shows what they chose?
What they chose is they will Cipher
the
Suite.
top there.
So under their response back to us, Hoffman Tables back to me. So I made a TLS v1.3 client hello to them. They made a server hello change cipher spec. So basically, first we've made our normal TCP connection. So reliable transport is set up. Then what's happened is with TLS 1.3, we are establishing a form of communication basically to both use encryption. So that's what we'll do. And we'll use a protocol like Diffie-Hellman or something like that to try to figure out that shared key. So key sharing, key share extension.
Why can't I not find that? What's going on?
But we won't be able to really capture that key. Technically, if it's a poor encryption method or something designed poorly, then I guess that could be possible, but yeah. Oops. Yeah, it's Diffie-Hellman keys, which we looked at the other day.
Yeah.
But specific to this random session that I generated and said in my client hello. So we both come up with this key using these shared public values. And now after that, we can see all the communications going forward are actually application data. It doesn't say any information other than the size that we have going for it. And it's all encrypted and we can't really see what's going on. And that's basically that. We will take a break about now.
You can actually see how I've got all the quick stuff popping up.
Mm-hmm.
If you go through the info there's actually a part where it says this quick frame has a reuse stream offset, and then it has retransmission next to it. So I'd say that would have kind of made a bit more clear what's going on if we'd looked into that.
Yep.
Because I don't get all the TLS info because I'm guessing obviously it's already done all that through the background there.
Exactly. All right. So we can see that
There's TLS.
the exchange of certificates that happen between back and forth there a little bit. We can even view the packet flow in the HTTPS session. So file set, export objects. Oh no, there's nothing there. But if we wanted to view, we can click follow TCP stream or TLS stream like these. And we can see it's all gibberish, but we can see back and forth. Blue is from us, red is from them, I think. It's unreadable, yeah. How do we figure out what it is? How does our browser know? Because when our browser and our client and the server have come up with a secret shared key, like the Diffie-Hellman key, when we intercept with something like packet tracer, this third party, or anybody listening on the network or intercepting in the middle, anywhere like that, they can't understand it because it's got this encryption method. So our device does because we've come up with a shared key with it. We've been part of that process, but nobody else can. So it's back to our cryptography. And it shows why these sort of shared secure key exchanges are so important. And they come up with a shared mechanism.
And luckily you can't find that anywhere, so you can't go, I know
Yeah, if I tried to export objects, it just wouldn't really work. In the same way. It just doesn't work. Let's try follow the conversation maybe, follow TLS stream. Nope, nothing there. Follow TCP stream, and I've got just no clue what is going on here.
Follow TLS stream.
Nothing there.
Literally nothing comes up. Cool.
Hmm.
That's cool. Encrypted application data.
I can also filter by TLS.
There you go. TLS 1.2 and 1.3 are mathematically infeasible to crack with current computing power.
Yep.
That's good.
With current computing power.
Yeah, obviously.
Yeah. So I think we will take a break now. We've covered a lot. I'm happy to come around and help for a little bit. Take a break until about 12. Maybe we'll do 12:15. We'll have a bit longer because it's pretty heavy content. Then we'll go into a little bit more about understanding Wireshark, and we'll try to finish off or get through a bit more of worksheet 1 today. There is a lot on there. Realized I wasn't recording. That's the structure of Wireshark, essentially. Those are the parts there. So you get your list, your details, and then your bytes, which can be viewed in binary or hexadecimal. By default, I think it's hex. So here it's hexadecimal. If I wanted to, I could change it to, where can I change it to binary? Yeah, but that's right. We don't really mess with the bytes a lot. I think right-click view as. So we've got the layout a little bit. We know that there's the details, list bytes. Now we're going to understand the capture and display filters. So there are 2 filtering languages that Wireshark has. One is before you make your capture, and the other is once you have a capture, how you filter that capture. So we've been using the filtering so far when we've been searching by IP. We haven't been using it heaps. There are cheat sheets available for Wireshark filtering, and you'll get used to some common ones anyway, or you can search up when you come across something new. Captures are set before you capture those packets. They're set. Capture filters are set before starting a packet capture and cannot be modified during the capture. So let's say I wanted to set a packet capture, options, and I wanted to add a packet filter to only capture Wi-Fi. Yeah, that's the only interface I want. Now it's only going to capture from that Wi-Fi interface. That's an option that I've given it. Or I could even add an option like only capture from this IP address. So IP source equals, and then whatever my own IP is, which I could check. My IP, which in this case isn't a real IP, but I could do it that way. I could filter by that. I could filter by protocol. Let's say I wanted to only capture TCP. Then I could do that. And if I start my capture now, this is only going to capture TCP connections as opposed to all the other protocols as well. We can see these are all, yeah, it's only going to capture things using TCP, no UDP. So that's a capture. We set it ahead of time before we make the capture. It's like saying we don't care about all this waste data. This is too much to collect. We only want to capture the important stuff. The display filter is after you've got a capture, then you can display it. You can filter it down to find what you need to. Let's say I only want things where the destination is 10.42.73. So IP.destination equals so 20.42.73.25. And if I search that, I only find those ones, those events. If you wanted to save a capture, once you've done that, you can do File, Save, or Save As, and it will save as a packet capture or a .pcap. That's the type of a file that you have here. We're just chucking all these ones out because we don't really care, but later on I'll give you guys some .pcap files, some packet captures, and we will be looking through those ones. So let's say, for example, you wanted to capture traffic only to or from a specific IP address. Like let's say in this case it's 192.168.5.4. That will return nothing in this case, but basically let's say what you do is you could search, for a capture filter, you could search host and then the name of whatever host you're capturing from. So I'm going to do host 192.168.50.1 and it will only capture traffic from there. So that's going to be the router in our access point. So, or DSL, AX, whatever that is. So that's the only thing that I'm capturing here. So I've selected the host and it's only capturing traffic that involves that host. If I were filtering it later on, I'd be using IP.address to capture that traffic. To capture a filter from a range of IP addresses, got some more examples here. I could do network, and then I could say the network. So 192.168.50.0 is the network, /24. So that's going to check everything from 50.0 all the way to 50.255. And that's going to capture everything on that network there. And we're going to get a much broader range of things that we're capturing. There's a whole list of capture filters here. It's nothing that you have to memorize, but it is something that we can spend a few minutes playing around with. You could also capture, you can also chain things together. Let's say I wanted to capture something on this network, but I did not want to capture something on port 80. Then I could do that, not port 80. Or I could do, and not port 80. And that would work, and that wouldn't capture anything on port 80. Or if I said and port 80, it would only capture things on port 80.
Yep.
Or I could do it and port 80 or port 25. That would only capture things on those two ports.
That's good.
I could chain them together because I've got the brackets around them. Yeah. And that will only capture things on that network on port 80 and port 25. And that seems to not be much going on there. We could also try, we don't just have to say the port numbers, we can say the protocol names. So for example, port not 53 would be for DNS, and not ARP would be address resolution protocol, a different protocol. So I could capture everything besides those two ones. Let's say I don't care about ARP and DNS traffic, because those are just two protocols that basically say, where is this thing? Here is this thing. I don't really care about that. I want to view the real raw data instead of all this waste. So that's something that could help me. I could even do within ranges of ports. So here you've got ports like this. We've got TCP02 is greater than 1500 and is less than 1550, or is greater than 1500 and is less than 1550. So that's the same thing, I think. What's the difference? Oh, 2 instead of 02. So let's try this one actually out. There's really lots you can do here, and you can also search up these cheat sheets to kind of figure out more. That's only going to be looking within those ranges, so that's not really going to do much. It's fine. And then display filters is once you have a capture, let's say I'll make a new capture, no filters there. Oh, I'll just change it so there are no filters. Capture options, remove that, start again. We go to capture and suddenly, yay, we've got everything coming through. I'm going to stop it now. Now that we have these captures, we can also add filters for what appears here. So, for example, HTTP is the protocol used to serve and request web content, and it's a plaintext protocol that runs on port 80. So I could search HTTP as a display filter, which would only show me HTTP traffic, or port 80 is another way I could do it. So what we can do is, before we start displaying and analyzing our traffic, we can find out our external IP address for our device. So there is a website here in this worksheet called whatismyip.com. Just open that one up. And this is basically what my IP looks like to an outsider, to anybody from the outside. That's my IP there. So basically, my internal IP is going to be my internal IP is going to be where the traffic is being captured. My external IP is basically what outsiders see when they're reaching out to me. Capture filters shouldn't be confused with display filters. So for example, I've set a capture filter to only capture things on port 80. If I've set a display filter there, that's only displaying what is going on there. So TCP.
Yeah, so capture filter captures those specific things, whereas display filter is capturing everything but showing you.
Exactly, exactly. So I will now send through a packet capture. In fact, I'll send through a little folder of them. The same place where I've sent the activity. Where have I put this one? Probably here. No, where did I just had it before. Just bear with me one moment. Okay. We'll just do a bit more of these today. We probably won't get through the worksheet one today. That's fine. It's a big topic, but it's cool. If you wanted to go on ahead as well, feel free to. That's fine. But we will probably spend some more time looking over it. There are a couple other worksheets which get more hands-on, such as investigating a case where somebody's on the run and they've got, and then we're going to look through their email logs and reassemble that data to find out where they ended up. Yeah. So here I've shared in the file the files for worksheet one, this activity here. That should be uploaded soonish. I'm just going to open it in the meantime on here. See if that one's sent through yet. Still not, right? It's a bit slow. I can just send it through on its own. Yeah, I'll send it through like this then, as just a PCAP. Seems like that one was struggling. Yeah, I've just sent that one through.
The traffic analysis came through straight away.
Okay, yeah, cool. Okay, so that's our first one. I'll also send the second one, but just use the first one for now, and open it in Wireshark. You can do that by selecting in Wireshark. You will do File, Open, and then you'll navigate to wherever it is. So it'll be in your downloads or wherever you downloaded it to. So in this case, yeah, and then you double click on it. If anybody needs help navigating to that one, let me know.
Oh, good lord. I accidentally downloaded it like 17 times.
Yep.
Just clicking it.
Oh no, yeah.
Wasn't paying attention, clicked it twice. That's right. No, traffic analysis 1. Continue without saving. There we go. And it started up with the TLS stream filter.
Right at the top. So if we sort by number, let's check that out. Traffic analysis 1, this one here.
Yep.
It's got this at the top, right?
Well, I've got a filter applied to it. TLS.stream EQ3.
Did you put that there or no? That's right. You can remove that filter. That's fine. We'll be adding filters in a second. So we're filtering. Capture filters aren't relevant here because this is a traffic capture that's already been done. It's an event that happened in the past in history. In fact, we could check out what date it is by looking at the information on it.
At the very top of that one, if I'm looking at the right one, I have a TCP from 204 dot something or other.
Is this traffic analysis 1 that you have open? Let me check that one.
Yeah, traffic analysis 1.
Yeah, double click it or press open. Yeah, that's good. And
That's the
scroll
very
into the
first.
top. I'm the one maybe with the filter then. Yeah, I do. Current filter HTTP. Yeah, okay, I see. So I'm going to X my filter. There we go. That's
Okay,
right.
Cool.
Cool.
Except
Yeah.
mine says an IP, not the MS Edge.
That's fine. So that's
The
just.
destination's the same.
I've got a setting on that basically says resolve it to where possible to just a name to make it a bit easier to follow along. And you can also just do, where would that be actually? View name resolution,
Right.
resolve, physical network transport addresses. So I've just got under view name resolution, resolve network addresses and physical addresses.
Yep, there we go. Cool.
Did that work?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Looks exactly the same, yeah.
All right, so now we're going to go through the worksheet. And it says step 1 is to filter for only SMTP and ICMP traffic. So you've got the command here. We're saying TCP port is equal to 25 or traffic is ICMP. So port 25 is SMTP. That's why we're saying that one.
We're doing it through the port. Because you can also do SMTP as a filter.
Oh, you probably can just do this, yeah. So instead of TCP port equals, you could just do SMTP or ICMP. Yeah?
I'll see if it does any other ports besides.
Let me try that
the
one
over
actually
there.
before how it was.
It comes up with nothing.
Nothing. That's fine. It's working. Yep. This is working.
So we have to do it specifically.
Yeah,
as
that's-
TCP port.
No, that's correct. This is correct. No, both work.
This one, right?
Yes, yeah. Have you opened, did you open the right capture? File. wait, let me check which capture you have. No, that's your current traffic that you're capturing. I've sent a file on the Discord, which is the traffic that we're investigating. So that's correct. There is actually no TCP because there's two files that we're checking, traffic 1 and traffic 2. So we're starting with traffic analysis 1, which I've sent on the Discord. I've also sent number 2, but we'll check 1 first. Next is our second command. We can copy that, is where the IP source is equal to somewhere in this network, 192.x.x, and the IP destination is also on that network. So we're only seeing traffic between workstations and servers, no internet involved, only on that subnet. So we're going to check on traffic analysis 1. Again, nothing turns up for that one.
There we go. Yeah, no, it comes up.
Good, yep, that should be right. Now we're going to try IP address equals 10.43.54.65, this one here. And again, as you can see, that's the same as saying IP address is source is this or destination is this.
10.43.54.65. No.
Nothing here, yep. IP address is not equal to that. It's going to show us everything else, yeah? So instead of double equals, it's double. And that's going to be everything, because none of it is equal to that. So we can see it actually says IP address equals that.
Why do I always put slashes instead of, I hate this keyboard so much. There we go, yeah, now everything comes up.
It's the same as saying IP source is not that and IP dest is not that.
Yeah.
Now to view only HTTP traffic, one thing that we can do, type HTTP, or we could type TCP.port equals 80 would be another way to type it.
HTTP, yeah.
And we can actually see, if you look at the bottom, what percentage, when we search HTTP, what percentage of traffic out of the 3,053 traffics are HTTP in this capture?
2.6%.
2.6%. How many total packets is that?
How many total packets?
Yeah, so
78.
78 displayed, yeah. So
Ooh,
78,
interesting, right?
yeah.
When we did IP address is not equal to the 10.354.65. It's still not displaying, it's displaying 3012 out of 3053 packets. But when we did IP address does equal that, nothing came up.
Yeah, so
that means there's packets that are both not that IP address, but also.
So which one is that one? Is not this? It's no. What it is? That's a good observation. And what it is packets with no IP address. So things where there's it's not that it's so it isn't that, but it also isn't not that at the same time. So here we can see when it's not that is 98.7, but when it is that, it's 0. So what is that 1.7?
So they're just not IP specific.
Yeah, let's look at what is not all of this. Let's actually see if we can filter for that. And we can see that. So you can see these are broadcasts which don't have any IP addresses. They're MAC address.
It's Wi-Fi having a look for stuff.
They're MAC address only, yeah. So that's a good point. So broadcasts out and about, sending to everywhere, no IP addresses involved. It's just a MAC address saying, hey, can you please give me an IP address? Or
so it's just basically communication with.
Or saying, who is this person? Yeah, exactly. Direct communication with no IP is involved. So good acknowledgement there.
VMware one's there, so it's communicating with a VM and stuff. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, nice.
Cool.
Now we can try that same thing again with packet capture 2. In fact, I will just do that. Open traffic analysis 2, and we'll try those same filters. So we're going to check is it on, and again, you don't have to do TCP port equals 25. You can also do SMTP.
Does not equal to 10.4.
Yeah. No, none of these actually work. But you can try with different port numbers and things. These are just examples. So these ports won't actually work because they're all just examples. But let's say I wanted to only check for port DNS. Let's say I only wanted to filter for DNS. I could do that, or I could do port TCP.port equals 53 because that's DNS. I could search that and find that out.
Yeah.
I guess it's not.
And there's no SMTP or ICMP.
Yes. No, there wasn't.
Yeah.
But we could look at some protocols. We could filter. We could even search things like keywords. Let's say that somebody went to the website. We could search frame contains
I learned how to do that one.
H. Let's see what frames contain that. So a bunch of them do. Yeah.
Hijinks ensue.
Yeah.
I'm not going to that website. I don't trust it.
Right. So now I'm going to send a couple more PCAPs through.
Cool. Do we need those last ones, or can I just clear them off?
You can clear them off if you want to delete. Keep some space. But
I
yeah,
guess
but
they're not really going to do much.
no, but they are good to practice with just these different searching
Yeah, I'm
things.
clearing off the duplicate download.
Good idea. Right, I've sent through quite a few. We're going to start with PCAP 1.
Whoa, okay. Click it once.
And what we're going to do now is learn about how to identify host information from DHCP traffic. So that DHCP is a protocol we'll talk about. Host information from NBNS, another protocol we'll talk about. Device models and operating systems from HTTP traffic. So again, that unencrypted traffic, we can actually figure out some info about the devices. And also Windows user accounts from Kerberos traffic, which is a Windows authentication. So open this one up. There are 3 identifiers that every host in a network needs to be identified. Those 3 identifiers are your MAC address, which is tied to your device. So every device has a MAC address, and it's going to look something like. In fact, we'll use an example here. We'll look at Roger's iPad, and that MAC address is going to be under Ethernet 2 here.
Yeah.
You can see his iPad is the source of the destination here. Here's the source. So source, there you go, 7C6062D2E34F. What we can figure out from the MAC address is the brand as well of the product. So in this case, who is the vendor? Apple. Or if we didn't know, we could search it up. It does tell us. So under Ethernet 2, we've got that. We can see our MAC address, which is tied to the physical device, an IP address, which can change all the time. It can be static, but it can be assigned. It's assigned by our router when we connect up to the router, for example. That's often what assigns it to us.
What's the difference between MAC address and BSSID?
So BSSID is a MAC address, but just for a network device.
So it's just specifically a MAC address for a network device.
Versus network device MAC. I think it's the same. It can be different to the because you can have a virtual one, I guess. No, it generally is just the MAC, yeah. And then the last thing is a host name, which anybody can set. So we have talked about BSSID versus SSID before. So our SSID for our network is is EQC network. That's our Wi-Fi name. Our BSSID would also be those numbers, like 20.E5 or whatever it might be. In fact, we could find that out. And in the same way, you've got your MAC address for your device, but you've also got the host name for that device. Mine was MSI. For Roger here, it's Roger's iPad local. So these are good to know, but the host name, the MAC address, it can be spoofed or faked, but it's generally always a unique identifier. A host name can be changed anytime, or anybody can make it. If Roger wanted to, if we look at Roger's iPad or this device, what do we assume about it based off what we have here? Just without.
Someone called Roger.
So we assume it belongs to somebody called Roger, and what is the other thing we assume about it? That it's an iPad, right? Because it's called Roger's iPad.
Yeah.
That's not true. Just looking at that alone, it is true in this case. Well, it probably
you
true.
can call it whatever you want.
But I could call my laptop Roger's iPad if I wanted to, and I'm not Roger, and it's not an iPad. So
Call your laptop Bank of Australia.
exactly.
It doesn't make it the Bank of
No,
Australia.
exactly. In this case, in this case, if we look at it, we can actually see a little bit about it. If we look at so Roger's iPad, that's the source, Roger's iPad, and we can see source, MAC address, and we can see that it's confirmed that it is an Apple product. So it is at least an Apple product or faking to be an Apple product, the MAC address, if it's been spoofed. The IP address can be assigned by a router or anything. It can change, it can rotate.
What are the LG and IG bits?
What's this? LG is is globally unique address. So that's your, and IG is your individual address. So unicast, that would be for your, let's check actually.
Yeah.
That's just the bits in the,
No, I was wondering if they're relevant at all.
individual and universal. So basically,
Oh, it's the least significant bit.
is it? Yeah. IG is the least significant.
Yeah. And the UL.
So it's basically telling you at what point.
The UL to the second, like. The
Multicast or broadcast. So basically you can see if this bit is set to 0, that means the communication is unicast. If it's set to 1, then it is multicast. Multicast means sent out to everybody, or sent out.
0, 0 means that can only receive signal.
You can't put it out of its own, exactly. Or
Cool.
or if it's so it being 0 doesn't mean that it's limited.
MAC address, and it doesn't come up with the name. You can
figure out,
I've got a 1 in there, so it must be a router or something.
You can actually figure out patterns like that. Yeah, so it's a router. It must be this. So that's interesting. Yeah, or it has this intent or this purpose or this capacity. Yeah, exactly. So for this first one, we're going to be filtering it by. We could filter this a couple ways. We could search. We're going to apply a display filter. We can see if we look at it, how many packets are there in total in this capture? 285.
Oh, in that capture.
In this particular capture, PCAP 1.
Total amount 285.
285. So we see there's a lot going on back and forth. You can see there's quite a few protocols, including encrypted data from Roger's iPad and somewhere else.
Yep.
Now let's try to figure out a little bit more about Roger's iPad. So we can filter this 2 ways. So the worksheet says boot P, we can search by. Another way we could search is DHCP. So DHCP is the same thing as boot P. We can see they're both, in this case, they're both going to resolve with 5 different packets. 5 out of 285, 1.8%. And when we search that, we should see these packets here, right? Is that what everyone else is seeing? So we should only be seeing DHCP traffic. And what DHCP is a protocol called Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. It basically means when a device joins a network, when I join a network, I don't have an IP address. I've got a MAC address. The router or the network device is what gives me my IP address. So this DHCP process is going to be where I get assigned my IP address. So 172.16.1.1, because it's a .1, it's probably a router. Not guaranteed, but we can actually see what's going on here. We can see that in the DHCP request, we can see that it is a Netgear router, source Netgear.
And
destination Apple, which is Roger's iPad. So we've got a MAC address, we've got Roger's Mac, we've got Roger's host name, which is Roger's iPad. And then we have a DHCP request. So we can see the first two, first one is an acknowledgement from the router. It's a request from Roger, acknowledgement from the router, request from Roger, acknowledgement from the router. So let's look at each of these. So basically the router to Roger is sending a boot reply first, and he is basically saying some information. He's saying what MAC address he's asking about, and he's assigning an IP address or giving an IP address as well. He's giving some more information. So how long is this IP valid for? It is valid for 7 days. After that it expires and you have to find a new one. Why do we think that this IP address might expire with DHCP?
It just depends on how it's set up on there.
Exactly. It's the router policy configuration for how these IPs are prescribed. What would happen if there was no expiration date on the loan time of an IP address? A router gives out.
Considered a static IP, wouldn't it?
It could be. I guess it would be because it wasn't changing. Let's say that a router gives out an IP address to a device, and there is no retirement on that IP address.
Then
So,
you could,
what's
out their Mac, you could spoof it probably.
Potentially, but in this case, what it means is that if the IPs that the router gave out never expired, is eventually the router would run out. It wouldn't be able to give any more. So
Because it uses the standard subdomain size,
it would. So if it's -24, it could prescribe out X amount. So /24, 254. Yeah. Exactly. So then Roger's responding back and he's saying, okay, this is me, I'm Roger, here's my IP address, and he's giving some more information. And that's basically it. He's saying, and that's kind of the idea of DHCP. It's an identifier, it's a protocol where basically a device or a router will give a device an IP address, and we can track this. So on PCAP1, what is the MAC address and host name associated with the IP address 172.16.207?
MAC address and host name.
Mm-hmm. So
Oh,
how
that's
could we,
the Rogers iPad.
yep. So how could we search that? And with the filter at the top, if we didn't IP
IP.addr
equals,
space and then
and we can see that it's not like
everything wrote back.
here's talks with this, and this is 1.1, so it's obviously not the same one. It must be Roger's iPad here. And if we read that again, we can confirm that. We can see Ethernet level, we can see Roger's iPad is this, because that's the source. IP level, we can see the IP address.
So can
Yeah,
you pop down the thing at the top, the destination under the Ethernet 2?
this one here.
Yep.
Yep.
Pop down destination. So it still has 0 and 0, even though it's a router. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to look more into that because I just want to know what's significant about it. Oh, yeah, here we go. Okay, the first one
That's kind of what we already had before.
describes how it's used.
So it's broadcast basically. Let's say that if you sent to if you sent to multiple people, yeah. So it's not the device that it's tied to; it's the specific frame. Yeah.
Yes, okay. So
That's cool. I didn't understand that either. Yeah.
Okay. So if it's a broadcast frame, if it's just like you find a frame where it's
Yeah,
broadcasting
let's check.
the SSID, that would be a 1.
Or no. So all F's is a broadcast, none in this one. But yeah, but if it was sending out like ARP, let's see, none there. But maybe in the future one that could be helpful. We look for a
Yeah.
broadcast where it sends out to everybody. That could even help us find, let's say a threat actor that's trying to scan hosts on the network.
Yeah.
A broadcast could be helpful there. Or let's say that but also non-harmful activity. Like we just saw a broadcast in our native traffic here, and that was just somebody trying to get an IP address using not DHCP, but using ARP, a different method, trying to figure out who owns this IP address, and that's a normal thing. So DHCP works, and we can actually see some information. We can search by IP address .207. If we search that, we can actually see, so in the Ethernet frames, it tells us that our IP address here is 7C6062D2E343. Ethernet protocol, we can actually see our IP address. Roger's iPad local is the host name, and it's 172.16.1.207. So we found everything we looked for here. It also shows us that it's probably an Apple iPad, not just because of the host name. So the host name is depicted as Roger's iPad. Based on the host name, this device is likely to be an iPad, but we cannot confirm solely off the host name because anybody can set a host name to anything. In fact, I think that today when I was doing a traffic scan, I saw somebody with a phone in that room, which name was like Gluber or something random. Like it doesn't mean anything. It's just you can set it to whatever you want. I used to set my host name of my device. Yeah, something like that, yeah. I used to set my device's host name to my sister's name so that I wouldn't get in trouble for being up late and on it, and she'd get caught, and she was allowed on later, so she didn't get in trouble for it. But yeah, anyway. More investigation would be needed to confirm that it was an iPad, but the fact that the MAC address is assigned to an Apple product or device does help reinforce the MAC that is there. It is also possible to correlate the MAC address and IP address for any frame with the source 172.16.1.207. So we know that those match up. So the fact that IP and that MAC is always the same means that that is the same entity, it's the same user, same device. Now,
I was just curious, so I had a look at because there's two at the top that are IGMP,
yes.
multicast.
Yeah. Wait. IGMP, you found some? Yeah, all routers, there we go. MDNS MCAST for multicast.
Yeah,
so we
watching
check that.
streaming content.
We can check Ethernet
It's still
0 destination. There we go.
Yeah.
Destination is 1 because we're sending it to multiple.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how a source could be one, because a source, you can't receive a source
you
from
can't,
multiple.
yeah.
You just receive many different
But
packets.
Generally, destination would be one in some instances if you're sending things,
Absolutely.
which is cool.
So
That'd be like broadcasting some, video, I'm guessing, from your phone to the TV or something like that would come up because multiple TVs are.
yeah, true. Yeah, if you're multicasting there, it depends. Maybe if you're establishing that originally, but maybe after you've set up, then it knows the one IP address. But yeah, it should be multicast. It's even called multicast. Yeah. All right. So we found that DHCP can be very helpful, but unfortunately, DHCP you might have to wait a really long time to find DHCP traffic on a network, and that is because DHCP traffic only happens when a new device pops on that network, or a device. Or a device. That's true. You can deauth and get a new DHCP handshake. That's one way you can actually do it. Is basically crash that Wi-Fi network or find a way to disconnect that device from the network and have them reconnect. But that tells them that something's up as well. So it's good. It's good, but and it's very useful a lot of the time. But it's not a guarantee. So the issue with DHCP is it does tell you a lot of information about the device connecting, and because it's at a stage, it's not encrypted, it's trying to be known, it's trying to find out. You can do it early on, you can find out information about this device, this host. However, you either have to wait for a new device to connect, or you have to wait for a device that's connected for their lease to expire. So in this case, we looked at Rogers. We saw when he requested DHCP that it was only valid for 7 days. Oh, sorry. This is the time till expiration. Yep. So we'd have to wait 5 days and 6 hours and 5 minutes.
When they reconnect to the network, you don't get a DHCP handshake.
No, it's already a known IP in that time. So we'd have to wait that out. It depends on how frequently it's renewed. So we might not have some DHCP traffic. However, we can use something called NBNS or NetBIOS name server to identify host names for computers running Windows or Apple hosts running Mac OS. So we're going to open up, basically when a host IP address cannot be resolved through an organization's domain name server. So when the organization, they search up that IP address and they can't find out who it ties to, that's when they use, there's a couple of protocols for it. It's NBNS or LLMNR, or Local Link Multicast Name Resolution, which is you can search up how each of these protocols work. We're not going to go too much into them, but they are useful for different cases. Now, what we're going to open is our.
Oh, that's what the multicast packets would be.
Possibly, I'm not sure about that particular one, but yeah.
Or could possibly be. Sorry.
So we're going to open up PCAP 2. We can see it's 108 packets. So I'll give a bit of time for that one. I think you're right. I actually do think that the multicast could be, but maybe not specifically. Maybe it's the precursor to that.
There's a few of them there. The IGMP and IGMP v3 packets. NBNS.
So first thing we might want to try, Oh, you've already found something. So first thing we might want to try is DHCP. And if we look at DHCP, there's only 2 packets this time. It's from IP address to. So what's going on here with this first one? This DHCP request from 10.2.4.101. Where is it going to? Well, where is it going to in this destination here?
Yeah, subnet.
Yeah, everywhere within that subnet. It's a broadcast. So it's basically just saying, I'm out here. That's all it's doing. It's not actually very helpful. It is still helpful. It is still the right computer, but it's. Yeah, but we can't find too much over it. It's not. No name is given here. Host name not given. Boot file name not given. We're not going to use DHCP here. We're going to try NBNS.
I can tell you it comes from a Hewlett Packard.
So NBNS, we can see it is a NBNS request going to the .4.1, which means our IP address is what?
10.2.4. something.
.101 here. So because it's going to the 4.1, that's our router.
Oh yeah.
So we can actually look. We can see it's a Hewlett Packard computer. We've got the MAC address here. So with the NBNS, just with this one thing, we can find 10.2.4.101.
And then it gets assigned.
We can see the computer's Hewlett Packard. Here's the MAC address, is 001E6695355A. IP address is 10.2.4.101. Now looking at NetBIOS name service, what is the host name on this one? So right now we open this one up. Queries. We can see
Martin WinPC.
Martin WinPC. And what can we make? What assumptions can we make from Martin WinPC?
Windows PC is something that's being used by someone called Martin.
Exactly. A Windows PC used by somebody called Martin. That's our assumption. Again, we cannot confirm solely based off hostname. Additional records, anything interesting? Yep, that's NetBIOS as well. Yep, and that's basically it. So we've got IP address, MAC address, hostname as well.
Is class in just to do with the fact that it's connecting to the thing, or?
Let's check that one. Where is that? Class in. Yeah, so that's a flag that's set. And BNS flags. Yeah, it's just a flag that's set.
Internet/IPv4.
Okay, so it's saying.
So it just means it's connecting via, in this case, I would assume IPv4 connection to the router.
It's basically saying in this case, in is a.
It says it's either internet or IPv4.
Okay, yep, that tracks.
So I'm assuming, as I said, I assume this one's the IPv4.
In refers to internet class, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
the IPv4 connection to the network.
Yep.
Yeah, fair enough.
All right, so now what we're going to do is we can also search, while we're here, we can search the other one that popped up, which they said was, which is LLMNR, it should be, I think. And we can also check this one out, see what this looks like. And again, we've got our Martin 10.2.4.101. We can see the MAC and the IP in that communication. That's not in the... And if we look at queries, again, we can see Martin WinPC.
You can also see warnings.
DNS missing.
And,
yep. Which is when LLMNR really pops up anyway.
Yeah, severity level, warning.
What's the severity level on that one? Or just a warning. Yeah, that's fine. Okay.
Message is a query.
Yep.
Queries.
We've got a few more to go through. I'm thinking we might leave this one for today. We can try one more if we're feeling up for it.
I'm fine.
Yeah, we'll do one more and then we'll call it for today. Yep. Is that all right? So we're going to open file 3, PCAP 3.
At least then we're halfway through the PCAPs.
That's true. Now the other thing we're going to do is identify device models and operating systems from HTTP traffic. So we figured out how to identify hostname, MAC address, IP address, and use that to find info about files. Now what if we could identify also not just, we can identify some things from the MAC address, we can identify the vendor, but can we also identify, let's say for example, is it coming from an Android device or a Windows device? So make sure to remove any filters to see everything. There are 7,514 packets in this one, a bit bigger. We are going to use filter for, use the third PCAP from a Windows host using an internal IP address called, we're going to find out information from 192.168.1.91.
Only from that one?
To or from that one. Actually, let's check that one.
So we're using IP source or IP address?
We'll try, actually we won't try, I'll try this one first. I just want to see if I might have typed that one wrong. It's .97 I meant to have, not 91. I think I might have typed that wrong.
Yeah, 97's the Janet work PC.
Okay, so we've got that, and we can also check, we're going to look at, we can look at 97, we can see some info about it, maybe. This is NBNS again, so we can find some key info. So see it's BioStar Micro device. We can see it is Janet Work PC, so like Martin Work PC, it's some sort of PC. We can see the IP address as well. Now let's only look at the HTTP request. We could do an HTTP to see all traffic from this IP address and to this IP address. So we can see this is going both ways, right? We don't want it to go both ways. We only want to see the HTTP requests. So we can, instead of doing HTTP, which will show us the requests from this and the responses.
HTTP.request.
Yeah. .request, perfect, exactly. Let's say we only wanted to see responses. We'd swap that around. So only responses that are going to this IP address, but we want to see requests from this IP address. And we can actually see, and we can even add a and not SSDP if we wanted to. I don't think that changed. And not SSDP. Notice how I can type and not SSDP using the word not, or using an exclamation mark, they both work. So, yeah. And we can see that there should be 41 filters displayed once we have all of this done.
Cloud service, that's what it was. Like, why is that familiar?
So look at the second frame.
Oh, and not, sorry, I have the,
Yeah, you can use an exclamation mark as well, like this.
there we go. No, I just had extra ones because I had the SSDP ones there.
Now, what is the frame number for the second frame that appears from the top for you?
Second frame,
Yep.
188.
188. Did anybody get anything different or need a little bit of time to catch up? I know we're going through this quite quickly.
The first thing it's doing is connecting to a cloud server.
That is true, it is.
UCLA. What?
So we can look at this. It's HTTP, UCLA. We can look at it, or what we can do is right-click it on frame 188, which we should have found. Right-click it and follow HTTP stream. Yep.
Just you're too fast.
Too fast? Okay, yeah. It is tough. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to not have the class run too late. We might recap this one as well. But that is actually, yeah, that's perfect. That's completely right. So,
To focus a lot to catch you.
yeah, you've nailed it though. You're actually ahead, yeah, right now. Yeah, thanks for, yeah, just call out if you need a little bit longer as well. So once you've got that, you can follow, sorry, not HTTP, we can do TCP stream as well. We can try that one too. So the same way, right click, follow TCP stream. There is hotkeys for these, but I won't go into those.
Because it gives you like a whole, it says user agent, it's like Mozilla, Apple WebKit, and Chrome, and Safari.
Yeah, that's right.
That doesn't help me at all.
It actually does, and that's exactly what we'll use. So we're gonna look at the user agent line.
I just assumed it wouldn't help because it mentions the fact that it's got Mozilla, which is Windows NT 6.1, 64, and
Yep, that line is where it's helpful. So
then it also says Apple WebKit.
we're gonna, yeah. So Apple WebKit. So a lot of these will come with a lot of extra stuff that it doesn't use. It's just basically saying here's our ID. So we don't know is this an Apple device or this.
Yeah.
But there is a piece of information that does actually tell us what this one is, which isn't in most of these web requests. Mozilla 5.0, you see that for Firefox,
Yeah.
Chrome, Safari, Apple WebKit for iOS stuff, and Chrome and. But Windows NT 6.1 and Windows 64 tells us a couple things. So what do we think Windows 64 might tell us?
Well, that's a 64-bit architecture.
Yeah, the sort of architecture. Windows,
So
yeah. Windows 6. KHTML. That should be. That's a good question. Yeah.
What's Gecko?
KHTML is a type of gecko. No, it's an discontinued HTML layout in KDE. Okay.
Oh, KDE, interesting.
Yeah.
Conqueror web browser.
Didn't know that.
Oh.
So yeah, not really used, but maybe they still use parts of it. Like that's why they're just listing that there. They use some of the tools that overlap. Windows NT 6.1 does tell us what type of Windows device it is though, or what type of Windows device is making the request. It can be faked. For example, my device, using something like curl, I can make a request as a Mac device or a Linux device and fake it, but for the most part, it's going to be true for normal traffic.
So KHTML, the reason it comes up under the Apple WebKit is it's actually what Apple WebKit was developed on.
Yeah, that makes sense then. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So here, Windows NT 6.1 does actually tell us what type of device we have.
Oh, okay.
In under task 6, if you scroll down a little bit, you can find out
Specifically mentions
NT, yeah, like a Windows version.
OS.
Yeah. So if we actually look, Windows NT 6.1, under task 6, you should be able to find out the different models and what type of device Windows NT 6.1 is. So what is that in this case?
The Win 7.
Windows 7 here, so NT 6.1.
Yeah.
So the fact that we could see it's a Windows 7. We'd also be able to see if it was an Android device. So currently we cannot see necessarily the device model specifically, but we can see the device version, right? So if it was an Android device, we would be able to know what the model specifically.
So like Samsung Galaxy, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. But because it's a Windows device, we can't see the model
Is the same
of the
true
device.
for iPhones? No.
No, but you can see the iOS, so the
Yeah,
iOS
it's
version.
iOS.
Or-
So you know it's an iPhone, just not what specific iPhone.
Exactly, but it's not so specific with. So we'll look at iPhone next, so later. So we'll look at. So we'll leave this off for today. But task 7, 8 is iPhone, Android. All right, take care.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's it. I know it's complex. If there are any questions,